I should be going to bed. Holy shit, why am I doing a game?
Same.
My god.
Traps has been bitten by the toxicity of
God
League.
damn it.
Ain't that the truth, brother? Night Puppy slacking.
Same.
He's angry. That stream doesn't start sooner.
What comp are you using for the 90++ CAD?
Look at that, hey!
Something that he originally came up with, not on the spreadsheet.
Nano machine, son.
Probably involving his wife. Yes.
Waifus. Get it
You see,
right.
Traps, in these cases, you say, not with this senator.
Not with this senator. Oh, what the fuck? Brother, please, you are losing this fight. All right, note to self, Jin, bad. He decided
Not
to want to
buying
be
a
hit.
magic tome, Traps.
What's up? Oh, I'm not a magic tome kind of guy. I like mobility than damage.
Sitting on gold.
Yep.
Sitting on gold as a mage.
I'd rather get the T2 bootsies. Hey, girl gotta dress those boots, alright? She needs to go fast. Bye, chat.
Bye.
Okay. Hello, everybody. How's it going? So tonight we apparently have the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight on Netflix. So I'm gonna be watching that on the side. Ah, there's a fly flying around my room. And just for a fun little poll, I'm gonna ask Twitch chat over here how you guys feel about that. Mike Tyson still fights? No, he doesn't. Not until this, apparently. Age, they give her the 50 months. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing good today. I'm just curious who chat thinks is gonna win. Have fights going on? Yeah. Okay. What was I doing? All right, I got the tweet out. Do me a favor, go give it some love. And I think I have today's art already. We got everything running, bots running. Okay, yep, looks like we're good to go. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, I missed yesterday partially because I was sick. I am still a little sick. I am trying to get better, but recording is going to be tentative because of that. We'll at least go over Britomart's buff, but I'm not sure if I'll have the the vocal power to be able to power through a Goghie video. Here is today's artwork. It is a fantastic one by a Clue Seller. There is it on the YouTube side as well. And again, I hope everybody's doing good today. So we have the 90++ node. I am doing a 6 slot. As you guys know, we rolled Mabe the other night. Partially because it made this comp viable, but also partially because, like I had said before, like a lot of the times when Mabe would actually be useful, it usually did require an NP2 for her. And she's one of those units that, like, her male niche is really strong. So I just said, whatever, I'm tired of, like, not being able to really use her ever because she's just NP1. So I just went ahead and grabbed NP2. And now I have her, and she's working out swimmingly for this node. The only problem I'm having here is that occasionally I take the wrong support into the node. And that's more or less because I just, like, I have this nasty habit of, like, switching to what's the word I'm gonna use? Like switching to, like, assassin instead, and, like, grabbing a Koyanskaya. Because, like, my brain goes like, oh, it's a Buster comp. Let me do that. How was damage for the rolls? It wasn't too bad, I want to say. I'm trying to remember what it actually was. I don't know if Torak remembers, but it was like, she didn't come quickly, I want to say, but it was not like pity or anything like that. You know when Cream's banner will drop? I know it's alongside Bren, but let me take a quick look here, because I don't remember off the top of my head. Excuse me. Oh yeah, fandom's only showing the NA ones. It's stupid because it should be announced. Is it tonight? Yeah, let me double check when JP had it. Yeah, it was like 8 days into the JP event when it occurred, so that's kind of right on cue for us here. And then it'll be hers first for like 2 days, and then like then Sigurd for 2 days, and then like Kentucky for 2 days. Yeah, I haven't been grinding too hard. I've been mostly just chilling. Again, it be what it be. The bell drops on this node are certainly nice. You guys can see this comp is relatively easy. The only issue with it is that one, you're using double Oberon, which can slow things down, and two, you have to be careful with button presses. Oberon is just naturally a problem for these sorts of things. Tips for 6C round 3. Your big problem is actually sneakily enough either going to be this man right here, which is Tyra. No, not Tyra. God, Archer, whose man name can't think of. Forgive sick brain. Tomitomo, thank you. Yeah, like Tomitomo, because he's just a little bit of a nasty like set of niches here again, and then basically if it's not him, then instead your problem's likely to be Kentucky, because Kentucky's also another one where he's just very high health, and you're kind of trying to switch from utilizing an AoE effectively enough to be able to clear like 200k plus to all of a sudden you need somebody that can basically do 1 million damage right out of the rip. So it's a little bit rough. Usually for something like this, like if you want a 6 slot, you're going to probably need a multi-damage dealer setup. So that's usually the advisable opportunity. I do think there's some capability for maybe like high-level Melisons to be able to do it, but it's probably, again, like a very, very high level at that point. And so that's kind of the problem you'll run into, is being able to leverage both AoE damage and single target damage within the same comp. Even with my specialty without a caster MP, she lose 16k alive. Yeah. Kayotsu, thank you for the 13. Start another year? Yes. The farm never ends? Yeah. Wait, oh, so Chad, I didn't see, but who won the poll? I assume Tyson won the poll, because like when I looked, it was like 90% in favor of Tyson. I did have to open like 5 more boxes. That's partially due to the fact that I actually ran out of QP finally and needed to get enough to like finish off Mabe's like. I think it was quite literally, I got everything done for Mabe except her append. And interestingly enough, I'm doing Mabe at like 1099. So she's still clean clearing for me. So I haven't had any issues with that. Every single time I've had an issue, it's been because like, again, like I took a wrong support or something. So I managed to make her work at 1099, and it's fine. MB3 Mel, if I remember correctly, Avalon sheet, right? It's part of the reason I'm not doing it. Yeah. And like, again, this is sort of a thing that's you're just going to encounter from time to time, is going to be basically that, you end up needing more robust MP levels in order to pull off a more efficient comp. That's kind of always been how FGO has been. So that's nothing brand new or anything like that. But in general, in the sort of post-Oberon era there for a little while, we had it to the point that like any NP1 could do any node. And that's kind of where, basically 90++ started to be a thing. I think the devs didn't like that. I think they wanted to make NP levels worth it again. And while I can understand that to an extent, I feel like in some ways they went a little bit overboard. Five slot of the 90++ with Oki Tan, Summer, and Triple Scotty. You're 5-slotting the archer node with a saber. More power to you. I have super spishy, otherwise I'd be 5-seeing. Yeah. Even with an NP1 tire. Hey, nice. Yeah, I really haven't farmed that much. Let's see. So I'm at I'm at 134. Anyone want to do the math for me on that? That's like, it's like 220 something. Like 222, 223 or something like that. Yeah. So then I've opened 15 boxes because of that. So let's see, that'd be 228, 238. So I'm just shy of like 240 at this point, which is not bad. Like I said, I've been pretty chill about this. I've farmed some during the day, but not like the entirety of the time or anything like that. It's just been like, I have it open and I do it when I have the opportunity to do it, but I don't like conscientiously sit there and constantly grind. So I do, several clears a day, but I'm not doing like, when I'm actually focusing on farming and trying. That may be a thing like later tonight or tomorrow even, as I go to do it, because again, like I've been home from work, so let's get into it some. And I'd like to like free up the time to be able to do like the CQs and stuff next week. But that is that's kind of where I've been at. Again, it's pretty chill for me. I don't really have to try very hard to do something like 300 boxes. 500 I normally do have to try, but not like, even with 500 I usually get done with the event like with several days to spare. So oh right, yeah, god, my brain was sitting here going like, wait, did I do something wrong? Cad, you under the weather? Yeah, I was sick yesterday. That's why I didn't stream. We did, I know like everybody probably saw like, oh, we did another Dragon Ball Super Marathon, but that was Prophet streaming that. I was sitting there watching it and it was good. I still had a fun time with it, but like, it's just, I feel like discombobulated at the current moment in time. So I ordered dinner, and it was really funny because I did it via DoorDash, and the guy gets to the restaurant today and he calls me up and he's like, hey, the restaurant says that they're out of electricity and they can't do your order. You're going to have to cancel the order. And like, I immediately didn't like that because I've had like orders go wrong before, and either like I get a call officially from DoorDash support, or the driver will like text me and be like, hey, there's a problem with the order, I'm gonna have to cancel. And like, I think like it gets canceled on their end. Okay. Oh, that's a scam? Yeah, so hear me out. So like, I go to look just to see like, can I cancel the order? Sure enough, if I try to cancel the order in any way, it's gonna end up like basically still charging me. And the reason for why this is the case is because the restaurant has already accepted the order. And the thought occurs to me, I'm like, how the hell did the restaurant accept the order, but they don't have power and can't make my order? And I'm just like, no, this is ridiculous. So I just was like, whatever, I'll just let it like time out. And then I'll just, if he gets frustrated enough, he'll cancel the order himself. Or like, I'll just say that he delivered it to the wrong address, and then I'll get a refund that way. Which hurts him, but like at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't care. It's not my fault. Like, he's the one making excuses up, seemingly. And he calls me back again, and he's like, hey, did you cancel the order? And I told him, no, I tried, and I said it won't let me, and that if I want to cancel the order, they will not refund me. And he was sitting there, and I told him, I was like you're gonna have to cancel on your end. And he's like, I don't know how to, like, you can't like do it on your end and stuff. And I was like, no, you're gonna have to do it on your end. And he's like, this is ridiculous. I don't know how to do this. And I was just like, call DoorDash yourself. And I just fucking hung up on him because I was like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to like the excuses from the guy. And Trubs brought it up too because he was joking, but he's like, oh, I bet the dude wanted to eat your order. And I'm like, no, I think that's actually what it was. Because if I canceled the order, the restaurant still gets paid. He'll accept it from the restaurant. He'll have a meal that I will have paid for that he won't have to deliver. So I think that's what it was. I think the guy was actually just sitting there trying to eat my dinner and basically get it for free. And I was just like, no, he can fuck off with that. And it's so funny because he lingered. I watched the order. In the meantime, I ordered a different meal and like just kind of like went about my night because I've had this sort of thing happen. Unfortunately, this is like the third or the fourth time something like this has happened. Usually the person doesn't have the audacity to like call me twice, but like I watch him like linger around the restaurant and then basically he finally gives up. And what I noticed he did, he found some way to extricate himself from the order. So instead, the order was out there available and somebody else picked up the order and ended up delivering it. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Electrical problem, huh? How then did the second driver pick up and deliver the order? And it was wildly late, but I was just like, well, whatever. And I literally went and put it in my refrigerator. I said, I'll just eat it like tomorrow or something at this point. Like I'll have a meal for another day. I hope you reported the guy. I couldn't because he's not on the order anymore. DoorDash's system is like ridiculously bad for stuff like that. And I hate it because I absolutely would report some of these drivers if I could. But the DoorDash system does not allow you to really. And I think it's stupid because, oh my God, I absolutely would have gotten rid of the guy. Did you get double dinner then? Yeah, I basically had double dinner. So I just took, I ate the first meal and I put the second meal that arrived later in the refrigerator. I was just like, it's ridiculous, dude. I fucking hate these delivery drivers. And I've said this before. It's like, I don't have any ill will towards people that are like working a job just to get by, right? Like I understand, especially at like lower end jobs and stuff, like it sucks. And sometimes that's all people have like to be able to do as a result of like their life circumstances. So I don't like look down on people that work a DoorDash job. However, when I see actions like that, it immediately makes me think this is why you work this job. Like there's no way that you're going to be able to work a better job when this is how you act. And so I'm like, yeah, it makes perfect sense that this is the caliber of like person you're dealing with at that point. Anyways, let's go over to JP. JP's been kind of a weird one. There's been several areas basically available. I need to actually do this and unlock this area. Theoretically, couldn't you call DoorDash support and use his phone number to report him? No, because it switched to who the driver was. Like in theory, like had I realized that at the time, yes, maybe. I do still remember the guy's name, but I don't remember like what his number was. I mean, like, well, I guess yeah, he called me. So assuming that's his actual number, I probably could. But yeah, I really freaking hate people like that. There's nothing that makes me angrier than when like people try to scam you and they think you're stupid. And then like you call them on their shit and they get deeply upset. And it's like, because the guy was like getting actually upset with me on the phone. And that's where I hung up. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this crap. Like, it's like, it's not my problem. And I shouldn't have to tell the guy how to do his job. Like he's like, I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, call DoorDash. Like talk to them. They'll cancel the order. And I'm like, why do I have to tell you that? You should know how to do that if you're a delivery driver. Like these things happen. People like this dungeon. I don't like hate the event by any means, but I don't like how like tedious the event is right now. Mostly because it's a lot of like 5 AP fights and stuff, and it takes you quite a bit to be able to like get to a a node to actually be able to run and spend your stuff down. But besides that, yeah, I don't mind it. Okay, we'll just do that. Someone said this was Oku 2.0. Yeah, I was talking about it Wednesday. This is exactly what it reminds me of. When people like your driver send them to the dungeon, I see. I did not want to see an Oku-esque event, KekW. I don't, like I said, I don't mind that they've done that in that regard, because like the ways in which it's similar to Oku are at least vastly improved. So I can't get like upset over that sort of thing. Oh, it's one of these again. Hopefully this is the Buster one. Okay, so I did do everything there. Gonna invert that. Try to get the quick card last. Still better than Oku? Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, is like the quality of life improvements between like the Oku event and this one, it's pretty clear this one's designed better. It's just like I was saying, like the 5 AP, 5 AP, 5 AP, 5 AP, and it's like then you finally get to a 40 AP eventually is the only thing that's annoying to me about it, and it's just because it's tedious, but that's just how these things are. Oh wow, she almost one-shotted it. She actually might have if I had used Oberon's NP damage up. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and pop that in there. We're not even going to bother. Ding dong. Oh, the story of Oku. Oku's story is pretty good. Same thing with Imaginary Scramble, and supposedly this is written by the same dude that did Imaginary Scramble. So, Trubs was telling me a little bit about the event. He was saying how much he hates Van Gogh and that he's going to grail her to 120. Which I find pretty funny. Mostly because it's pretty clear at that point that it's like, oh yeah, like the way he was describing it was essentially like Van Gogh, like all the fights you keep getting into are because Van Gogh keeps running her mouth, and he's like, but that's why I love her. So it makes a lot of sense. Astolfo Saber in P2 can do Kentucky in the 90++. Astolfo Saber in P2? I mean, you might be able to, as long as you had him sufficiently buffed. I think the bigger question would be, Dominic, like, who do you have handling the first two waves? And again, like, guys, if you're not trying to, like, 6-slot and you just take, like, a damage sheet, a lot more becomes possible. It's like the only real difficulty isn't in trying to 5-slot, it's in trying to 6-slot the stuff. What the hair? The one thing that I keep trying to do is I keep trying to get the farms, which I already got the one on this level, but it looks like that's the only. Oh, no, there's one there. One there. Not one in the black section there. Doesn't look like there's one in this section either. It probably means you need to go one of these two ways. The one in this section's pretty far off, so let's head down this way first. The nodes are in the golden and black part if you want to rush them. Oh no, I'm good. Like, the problem that I've had is like trying to do it off stream when I'm like busy doing other stuff. Not like I purposely saved some of it for on stream. And actually, I made, because I was up late last night, so, for reference, if any of you guys were up late last night and you saw me sitting in Discord down in the gaming room, It's because we were doing some mythic dungeons and WoW. And I was up that late because I slept all day yesterday. I literally, because I was sick, I slept like all day, and that's where it was like, well, crap, my entire like sleep schedule is like thrown off because of this. And so like I just didn't go to bed until like 4 or 5 in the morning. Like it was like ridiculous, and I don't know, I didn't really feel tired until that point, but then I did, and then I slept until like, God, it was like noon today again. So I've probably slept a good like I don't know. Like I've probably slept a good like 15 hours or something, maybe more, which, you know, that sounds like not that much, but for me, that kind of is. Honestly, I tried to do 90 plus a few times, opted to farm 90 or 90 plus for consistency. Yeah, I would tell you to do the 90 plus. Like, I wouldn't tell you to do the 90. There is a gap there, but the 90 plus, you're usually about as efficient as the plus. Are you going for Keystone Master? What is that? I'm gonna say no since I don't know what it is. I hope the dogs didn't catch my sickness. Dogs don't normally get sick from human diseases, thankfully. Like I don't know of any that do affect dogs. $2,000+ score. Oh, yeah, they were talking about that yesterday. I like, if I can get there, sure, but that's like not my main goal. Like my main goal from doing mythics is to like have access to like the crests and potentially higher level gear. Like the problem that I have is because I don't have like a consistent group that I'm raiding with or anything right now. A lot of that's due to like my timing and schedule. Like I'm still fully committed to stream and not to like anything like that. So like I at best can like sub in for people's raid groups and stuff when I'm available. But I don't find any of the like raid content actually hard. I don't have like the easy access to be able to like do a bunch of that stuff. Just due to like the people that I currently know at this point in time. So because of that, I've just kind of like taken this approach of like, well, I have to find alternate ways of gearing up. And like right now, unfortunately, one of my only ways of gearing up is like the weekly rewards that I get at the end of each week from like clearing delves and stuff. Not like the actual clearing of a tier 8 delve. That doesn't get me any upgrades. But like the actual like end of the week reward occasionally has enough. But yeah, like the problem that I'm having is I don't have any capacity at the current point in time to move beyond like normal raids and stuff like that. Which, by the way, I should probably bring this up because it's one of the things we've been talking about. But for those of you guys that have any interest in WoW, and for those of you guys that actually do play, we are probably going to try and like kind of get some stuff together for the guild, like for Team Explosion's guild on Warcraft. And the way it currently works in games, like you can do a lot of stuff no matter which faction you're on. Like for instance, you can raid together now, even if you're like Horde or Alliance, you can still raid on together with other people. So that's going to be something that we're probably going to be looking into in the future. So if you guys have any interest, if you guys are you know, potentially interested in like checking out WoW and stuff, the game's in a lot better state than probably you've heard about in the past, because like, you know, WoW used to be super good. Obviously, it was very dominant in the MMO market, but it kind of died out over time due to stupid developer choices and stuff. But it's kind of been coming back a little bit here, and they're kind of making some good positive changes. They're keeping the content flowing. They just announced apparently the next expansion is going to have housing in it and stuff. So it's good. It's like, it's actually nice to see them like sort of reinvesting in the game at the current point in time. Shadowlands era was over. So it's funny you say that, Strom, because that's literally what I'm currently doing on my other mage. I'm walking through the Shadowlands story to get access to like the end areas so that I can do the raids there and like have access to the factions for their like glamours and stuff. And I hate it. I see exactly why everybody hated that expansion. The vault reward, yeah, the vault reward. I've been watching the WoW X University of Washington football crossover they're doing tonight. Wait, what? I'm so sorry. No, it's all good. But yeah, like Strom, I know you play. I have you added, but if like you or AFK or any of the other people that play, if you guys want to join the guild or do stuff with us, just let us know. We're probably thinking of adding a channel to the Discord and stuff because like we haven't done it yet because you guys know how we are. A lot of the times we'll pick up a game and we'll play it for a little bit and then we'll drop it after some time. And I'm not gonna say that like that's not gonna happen in the near future because we have like Stalker 2 coming out and I'm really gonna want to play that. But like, and we like, you know, February next year we've also got Monster Hunter. But like in the interim, I still need shit to play. It's not like FGO is very grind intense outside of a lotto. So basically, we're thinking about like putting together other stuff basically in WoW. I know WoW is like subscription based in that regard, but the one good thing about having a subscription based MMO is it usually gives you a lot more quality and breadth of content to the game. And it's definitely something that I actually feel like WoW is doing a decent job of here lately compared to where it used to be. Are you planning to play Classic? I've been having that itch. I've been having the itch to like go back and play Classic and maybe even a hardcore server. Just to like see if I can do it. Because I mean, like for instance, when I was leveling my second mage up here again, I didn't even die until I was like in the 70s. And where I died was like some really stupid thing. I didn't actually die to like an actual like boss. So particularly with mage, I'm very used to the way that class works, and it's like not difficult for me to be able to kind of bring my might to bear in that regard. You know what? Let's go ahead and pop this. There's no reason not to. For Mythic Plus, though? No, I mean, that's fine. If you guys, like, want to go off and do stuff with other people and stuff, that's perfectly okay. But no, the guild's already set up. Creamy is the one that's currently heading it up, but I can, if I'm on, I can give you guys invites. And like I said, if I'm not, you can always message Creamy or Ash. Both of them play too, and they're the majority of the people that I play with. Heck, even Mr. Lutzvane, Steve plays as well. So we have quite a few people that are basically part of it already. Retail leveling is a joke. Classic is actually threatening. No, it's not. It only is if you're playing on a PvP server. PvP Classic is the biggest problem because you have to have eyes in the back of your fucking head. Yeah, Classic leveling is just slow. That's its biggest issue. And I remember how it used to be and stuff. It like in that regard, that's kind of what I miss. Like I miss going through all the like zones and Azeroth and stuff because like unfortunately due to the nature of how like retail leveling works, like you're just heavily incentivized, especially right now, where if you want to level up a character, you just spam time walking dungeons and you level stupidly fast. But like even then, even if that's not around, like you might go and you might like do the time walking for one of the other expansions that you didn't get to experience. So like it's rare to get that actual Classic experience right now without actually just going back and playing Classic. Also because Cataclysm kind of fucked the world up a little bit. PvP OG leveling is so fucking annoying. Yeah. Yes, it was. Um. Okay, so we did all of that lower section there. I've got 66 of these things. Should still be enough. Let's go open the other farm here if we can. This is literally a practically free reward. Using Shufu, Summer Ibuki, Castoria, and Lady Avalon. Yep. Yeah, it's like there's quite a bit you can do with like Shufu and Lady Avalon. Like everybody kind of gets stuck in the mindset of double Castoria, but you can actually make a lot work just between the two of those. Seeing you one-shot entire dungeons feels super weird for someone who never played the game before, not gonna lie. Oh, so those are like old dungeons. So like, for instance, Weiss, like if I'm level 80 and I go back and I do a dungeon or a raid at level 30, I like just super fucking destroy everything. Like I don't even have to try. Anything I do, in fact, even if you're like a ret pally or something and you have like a retribution type effect, and so like an enemy walks up to you and hits you, they'll kill themselves. It's freaking hilarious. But yeah, that's all the old content. You guys, like, a lot of the time, the reason why you guys have seen me do stuff like that on stream is because maybe there's not, like, somebody else around. And it, how do I put it? Like, it basically, because there's no one else around, I'm not doing the high-level content. And because I'm not doing the high-level content, you just see me, like, one-tapping stuff. And usually the reason you go back and you do the old content is you do it for what the game calls transmogs, but what you might call in other games like glamour, right? Like basically customizable appearances for your character's armor and weapons. And so that's why you go back and you run the old stuff, because it's not like guaranteed to drop, and there's still like weekly lockouts for that stuff. So you go back, you run it on a character, you see if you can get it to drop. And they recently improved that a whole lot more, because it used to be that if you got a like piece for a different class, you couldn't really like collect it unless you were on the correct class. So now instead you can collect it regardless of whatever class it is. So if you later like come up and you level a different character, you'll be able to use all those glamours, those transmogs that you had already collected. Remember Stranglethorn Veil? Yeah. Okay, so now we're at plus 26. That gets that. Chat has basically said that the other zones are where the other nodes are, so that's probably what we'll go do. Let me grab Vare here. And then I'll probably just do my Summer Umu. Kaj, you hear they buffed Brito? Yeah, we're gonna go over her buff here in a minute. I just need to get my AP on JP down here. Clothing is in-game for every MMO? Yeah, I mean, and it kind of should be, right? It's always fun on a PvP server. It's really sad, because I still play on the same server that I played in back in the day, which was a PvP server. But apparently, like, WoW neutered all of that. So, like, now it's all flag-based PvP, which... And I'm going to say this, like, you know, there was some recent drama apparently with like Ashes of Creation, because I guess like Asmongold went to go play it and he got like mega ganked and stalked and griefed the whole time. But like that game is open PvP, right? I feel like while there should be modes for like people that don't like that sort of thing, that if you play on a server, for instance, that has open PvP, that you know what you're getting into, and that they don't need to coddle you at that point, right? Like, if you get griefed, you get fucking griefed, and you know, because one, you can do it yourself, or two, it's just like it's the thing you're looking for. And part of the reason that I played a PvP server back in the day was because the thing that I liked was the thrill aspect of it. And that was that, like, you did need to be a little bit cautious about how you were doing things, because somebody might swoop in at any given moment and just brutally freaking murder you. So you were heavily incentivized to pay attention to your surroundings, to try and watch out for people like swooping in on you and brutally like murdering you, or for roving gank squads. And that actually allowed for like a little bit of like suspense and excitement. It sucked if you were like just trying to get like one quest done and somebody was like sitting right on top of it. But otherwise, it made for a more like interesting experience to me. Now, not everyone's going to have the same reasoning that I do, but that's at least why I did it back in the day. And I was never really somebody that like would sit there and like camp people. I would kill anybody that I ran across. Like, no questions asked. If you were a member of the opposite faction, I would just kill the crap out of you, and I just didn't care. But I would never like sit there and linger. I would just kill the person the one time, and that was it. And usually when I would kill people multiple times, it's because I'd kill them and then they would revive and they would keep trying to like come back and get revenge on me. And I'd just be like, well, that's their fault, right? Like, heck with them. It's not my issue. Random high-level player makes a massacre and goes back to lurking. Yep. I hate how JP event map is set. It's so annoying to navigate. Like in what way? Honestly, I think Ashes of Creation is not going to succeed. Creating an environment that promotes, allows griefing will mean people will abuse it, causing others to quit. Yeah, so what I heard about that whole situation is they did claim that there is apparently going to at least be a protection for like the like starter like not zone, right, but like quite literally just the starter like area that you spawn in. And I think that's a good idea. But yeah, I do think that like in those formative levels from like, you know, like I don't know, like the first like 1 to 10 levels at minimum, like there should probably be no PvP. One, because it won't be very fun or interesting at that level. And two, because all it's going to allow is like the high level player to come sit there and just like gank lobies. And that's, to me, that's probably one of the fastest ways to get somebody not to play your game, is if like their very first experience with your game is them getting spawn camped. Like, I'm sure a lot of people will probably just be like, yep, nope, I'm done. So I don't think I would give up that easy, but I can definitely see that other people would. And I do think that's going to be something that a game like that's going to have to figure out. They will probably develop a negative reputation if they don't put proper systems in place. But again, the game's still in alpha. They still have a lot of time to like test this stuff out. So we'll see. And at least the devs for Ashes seem to be really deeply involved with the community and like listening to what they want. I think that is ultimately their idea, is to have an open world like PvP game. So I won't fault them for that if that's, you know, like what they want design wise and that's what they stick to. But I do think there's ways you can do that that are better. And then there's like the just total free for all, which is prone to abuse. JP event just takes too much time. Bottom left leaves to story unlock. Bottom left. You mean over here? Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying more to get to the nodes than I am to story, right? And I have no idea what any of these nodes drop, and I don't really care because I'm basically just constantly taking the like the maximum drop C here. Which actually, hold on, I could probably buy some more out of the shop now. Yeah, both those still have time on them. Looks like I could buy the other Ascension forms. Can't buy either of those two. So I'm probably safe to buy at least that. Sorry, I didn't get the Tut video out either. For those of you guys that were waiting on it, you kind of know what's going on with that at this point. Like that's just I got sick that day, and like I had planned to upload it after lunch, and I quite literally like went home from work just feeling like lightheaded and kind of nauseous, and then I just ended up sleeping the entire day. What am I doing? Ascension. There we go. Did the event C cost more drop, Matt? What do you mean? No, like normally C's cost 200. Right now they only cost 150. I do PvP when forced, so I would never play Ashes in its current state. Yeah, and I think like that's where I think it'd be smart of them to just offer an experience where it's like flag-based PvP, where you have to flag into the system in order to do it, right? And then people can choose whether or not they want a PvP and when they want to. And if they want, like, they can incentivize the PvP even, and just like that would give people a reason to, you know, like to actually do it even on a server where there's not. But yeah, I think like it's usually just better to provide people with multiple options. Wait, is it in my mailbox? Gonna take these. Yep. Let's see. What can I do? So that's QP. We'll do this one. 'Cause I don't think this one's actually worth at the moment. Oh my god, there we go. Then we need probably Ishtar for this. I don't think I have Ishtar's append maxed out on my JP account. So I need to do that. Yep. Basically, until I get MLB, certain units, I have to do this weird-ass hybrid Oberon in the front wave. It works. I'm able to like get a little bit more charge out of it, but not the best of scenarios. Hello, Control. Oh, is Cat done with farming? No, I'm just on JP at the moment. Do you think LB7 will drop on Christmas Day like it did on JP? It's difficult to say. Like, I think you can count on the fact that regardless, it will probably happen how it did on JP. Whether or not they choose to make some adjustments depends. But I'm also going to say this. Considering that they have dropped full-blown lotto events on Christmas Day, yes, I think you will get story released on Christmas Day. Right? Like, because it tells me that it's like they usually prefer just matching what the content pace is rather than like any consideration over what the day is. So at that point, I would think that yeah, you can pretty much expect it unless they randomly decide that they want to make an adjustment somehow. But the reason why we all expect it to is because basically it's tied in with New Year's. So long story short, when LB7 first comes out, there is no banners. Like there are no banners for the release of LB7 for new units, at least. There will be a banner, it's just not for anything new. So at that point, the timing is kind of like by design for why they do that. So that's why I think you can just accept that it's probably going to be the case. But again, it's story chat, and you will have pretty much until like late January before the second part probably comes out. So maybe they accelerate that some, but I doubt it. So I would just tell you, like, yeah, you even if it comes out on Christmas Day, you'll still have plenty of time to deal with it. I'm more worried about there being a JP lotto in that time. Did they confirm 2 events for December on JP? I don't think so yet. You'd have to ask Trubs though. He's the one. Like, I didn't even get to watch the last JP live stream because of having a doctor's appointment that morning. There's a specific thing that makes me 100% believe it'll drop on Christmas Day. Yeah, and I think you and I both know what that is. It's just like, basically, again, expect it, chat. If it's not and we're wrong, then okay. But I think if we're wrong, we're gonna be wrong by like a day or two, not like anything else. Like, it's not gonna be this like, oh, suddenly the entire event comes out like a month early. Don't expect anything like that. Both Taiwan and Korea did the same thing and dropped it on a specific date for that reason. Yeah. FGO story plus KFC collab. You know, I would like if FGO tried to do a American collab. I feel like that would be really smart of them to do, because I feel like this game's reputation and like awareness is utter trash over here in the West. But I don't care, right? Like, if they want to do it, go for it. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. The event is live on Netflix. Oh yeah. So, are they? Does anyone know? Are they doing like? Are they doing like pre-fights?
So excited for him.
Okay, hold on. I have to mute that, because I don't want to get copy struck. Like, are there going to be a bunch of fights before the main event? But okay, there you go. So that did all of this. You guys can see there's still some more stuff. I'll probably end up like popping the blue apples that I ate for this event early, like later in the event, and potentially once I'm like done with my NA farming. So it's like, I know I already made 3 blue apples in the middle of this event instead of like spending the AP. So I'll probably just find a way to mitigate that. Don't know they're doing an interview right now. Yeah. Did you fix your Oki append? I did. I fixed my Oki append, and I also shifted Arcuate over when we were talking about the new system. So for those of you guys that weren't aware, append swapping is a thing. They did finally get it into the game with this event. You can now like literally just go and actually like move to a new thing. Actually, I don't think I went into the right one. Did I? Yeah, it's like, you can see, you can like select one and it'll literally just like flip flop, and there's no penalty. There's like there's nothing that it'll do. So like, boom, here you go. So now this one's 6, and there's no limitation to it, so you can do it over and over and over again. Oh, hold on. There we go. So I can switch it right back. Doesn't cost anything. No limitation to the amount of times you can do it. So it's really nice. I'm actually impressed that it is this nice. I figured they were not going to do that. They ever talk about 30 million downloads on stream? What do you mean? We already had 30 million downloads. It's not bad. Yeah, it's a good system. I like that they did it this way. I'm surprised that they did, because like I said, it's going to result in people hot swapping for like whatever they feel like works better. Oh, the Dallas cheerleaders. Let's go. They had an entire stream for the DL campaign. Yeah, that's why I was like curious. I'm surprised they keep the levels, because my impression was that you could swap, but you'd have to level them again. That's what I kind of figured as well. I'm certainly happy that it works out this way. Saves me a lot of pain and suffering. And like I said, it's definitely nice that it does, but at the end of the day, I'll take it. It's like this game is incredibly stingy in so many other ways that like I'm okay with this being the one system that it's not stingy on. But anyways, that's JP. So let's talk about the Britomart upgrade. Oh, I already had several of these open. Welcome, but also shocking. Yeah. Did they have it? They do. So Britomart ended up getting an NP interlude, chat, and it's nice. It's exactly what like kind of I would hope for her in that regard. You guys have known I've been pretty outspoken about the Lancers in general being in a bad spot due to the existence of Melson. But Britomart had been in a little bit of a weird spot as well because she's very similar to like Bratomonte. And Bratomonte being the older unit, she had managed to get like, how do I put this? Like she had managed to get more attention basically in the short term here because she had been around longer, she needed it more, and so in that regard I was perfectly happy with Bratomonte getting the upgrade. I'm not going to say they handled that wrong, but now it's been enough time, they've kind of circled back, they've given Britomart some love, and they've given Britomart what she quote unquote needed. That is to say, the biggest thing that they could give Britomart. They gave her an NP interlude. So you can see, just for a refresher here, Britomart had Invuln Pierce. Britomart also dealt damage to riding traded enemies, which as a Lancer, there's not too many archers that necessarily have that, but there's still plenty of like units out there that do have it. Unfortunately, probably the worst aspect of this is outside of riders themselves, the second highest group of units that has the riding trait is sabers. So for a Lancer to have this niche is kind of weird, but it is what it is. There's still units that she can use it against. There's still plenty of like berserkers and neutral targets that she could do it, if not for the archers themselves that have it. She dealt damage to all enemies, and then she dealt extra damage to rider enemies. So again, riding and rider all in the same thing. Definitely a nice thing. And basically they come back in and they give her sort of the standard NP interlude, as you guys can see here. Again, NP2 became NP1 and NP5 became NP2. So that's exactly what they did with this and gave her that standard upgrade. She increases the amount of damage. They didn't change anything with the base effects of the NP. What they did change, though, is her overcharge. Now she reduces all enemies' quick resistance for 3 turns, activating first. She's also going to reduce their buster resistance for 3 turns, activating first. So this is really nice because not only does this fit well with, like, say, the Summer Scotty synergy, since again she's double quick, double buster type unit, she's basically going to end up having, again, that additional like crit capability from that, and then essentially have more quick resist down. So this is not only going to be more damage for the NP itself, this is also going to be more refund. It's base of 10%, so it's nothing huge, but this does actually make a bit of a difference. So combining dealing more damage with having an actual overcharge that activates before the damage goes out, this does result in the possibility for Britomart to be able to kind of get rid of some of those problems. If you remember, we just did the Britomart video not too long ago on NA, and I talked with you guys about how Britomart basically... is that an Ego Raptor? That looks like Ego Raptor. Chad, is that Ego Raptor? Tell me that's not Ego Raptor. It's not Ego Raptor. Okay. Just the cornrows and the tattoos remind me of him. Sorry, I'm stunlocked by that. Basically, if you remember when I made the video, we talked about the compositions for Britomart having basically a like setup where you could use triple Scotty with her and everything was perfectly fine. But ideally you wanted to use double Summer Scotty and Oberon. And if you did that, you got way more damage. The problem was you had scenarios where you actually required certain amounts of overkill hits in order to be able to refund enough. So basically at that point, Britomart required at least like one wave where she could really pop off and get a good chunk of overkill. Then she'd have enough refund and the loop would work. But if you didn't have that, it became problematic. So what this upgrade does, what getting this even 10% quick resist down for 3 turns can do, is this can eliminate the requirement for that amount of overkill hits. So it's a nice thing. This just makes Britomart basically easier to use and able to be slotted into multiple different compositions. However, I will say this does sort of hurt the viability at this point of triple Scotty setups, because if that's going to be their goal, is to get rid of sort of a unit's potential reliance on that, then all of a sudden, why are you going to run triple Scotty at all? And I'm going to say she's not the only unit that's like this, but if they start to do this with some of the other units, yeah, there won't be a reason to ever run triple Scotty, really, at least not in a farming setup. This almost makes Oberon more essential in that regard. So he's not the only one that you would have to do, but it does mean that like they'd be pushing you more towards that capability to use Oberon rather than having scenarios where like Oberon is not the better choice. So again, it's up to you. You can still choose to use one or the other, particularly if you're like, hey, I don't want to use my Oberon. He's really high bond or something like that. It's perfectly fine. But I do like this in that regard. My only nitpick about this is going to be the fact that it is, again, a resist down. So even though it has the 3-turn durations here, this does mean that it's not going to be carried to another wave if you're in a like conventional 3-turn wave setup. If you're up against like the same set of enemies in a challenge environment, this will be really good because it'll stack and you'll keep getting more of it. But again, like in a 3-wave type of setup, yeah, it's not getting carried to the next wave with you. So it would be better if it were a card type up rather than a card resist down on the enemy. And then you'd be able to carry it with you. But again, it is what it is. Because it is a card resist down too, it can be resisted. So you'll have to watch out for scenarios where a unit has high like magic resist and stuff like that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's still a very, very nice upgrade for her. Avalon did get me some preparatory imagery here. You guys can see this is Britomart basically from before is the old scenario here where she needed 5 out of 18 overkill hits in wave 1 to work with Oberon and a Black Grail, and now the new numbers where it's not required at all because she just kind of has it. And you can see this does make a significant improvement. Again, more so than just NP2 becoming NP1. You can see NP2 was 154 there, and then 353. Now it's 187. So again, that 10% does make a difference. It's not as much as you would necessarily think otherwise, but in some ways it can be more. So I do like this. Again, it's just, for a unit that didn't have a whole lot of like steroids built into her kit, I think it's a welcome addition. You can see it's already making pretty good impacts here. Is it's improving her damage by more than 100k. So definitely a nice upgrade and something that is welcome. This doesn't quite make her really competitive with someone like Melisande. But again, maybe if we're up against, say, the writing and the writer combinations here, or again, at least just writer, if not writing, yeah, we'd be kind of holding our own against Mel at that point. It's just, it really does take that at this point for a lot of these units to surpass someone like Mel, because Mel can touch that Black Grail. Not only is the requirement going to be that the other unit can touch Black Grail and use Oberon as well, but that they have some sort of niche that allows them to surpass Mel. Otherwise, Mel's just going to be the go-to default for time immemorial at this point until they start to actually surpass her with these other units. So in that regard, I do kind of like it, but it just kind of is what it is. Also, for comparative sake, Avalon did mention this, that now she's actually competitive with units like Huyan, again, because due to this upgrade, the Rider niche ends up being a lot better for her. Prior to this, it certainly was a lot lower, and units like Huyan, especially if the target was evil and stuff, could definitely end up popping off and still out damaging. Now, that's a weird one because we do have a unit like Britomart that's basically working outside of her intended class. So to me, I'm not sure that she should necessarily be doing more than someone like Huyan. But honestly, at this point in JP, Huyan's been out 2 years. She could certainly receive some amount of attention, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So I'd be okay with that if they wanted to give her some attention as well at this point. Okay, hold on. Let me check this. This is one more thing that Avalon sent me. Ugh. Oh, Bradamonte. Gotcha. Okay. I was reading this and my sick addled brain went like, what do you mean it requires overkill hits? But I realized it was not Britomart that we were talking about here. So yeah, Bradamonte, these are her numbers in comparison. So again, like someone like Britomart at this point is kind of outperforming Brad. Brad has had some love. Brad does have the Earth niche at least. Brad could probably use a little bit more because I think that especially with these numbers, right, someone like Mel is still going to trounce her. So having Brad get a little bit more love is certainly going to be nice. I think Britomart's in a much better spot, especially in niche here at this point with her new numbers, and it's definitely something I would like to see. The other problem, again, as Avalon denoted, is Bradamonte is going to have to use overkill hits, basically, if you're not using Triple Scotty. And it's going to be 12 out of 15 overkill hits if it's not Triple Scotty. So that's the big issue at play here. This is sort of her most consistent comp. In that regard, they probably need to revisit her and give her some amount of like NP gain up or quick up, and that will potentially help her. That way she can actually start to use a little bit more viable like a Oberon. But again, it comes with those considerations, as I mentioned before, that the more they do this, the more the reliance for Oberon increases and the more the reliance on Triple Scotty decreases, which there's not a whole lot of units out there at the current point in time that actually need to run Triple Scotty. So it is a weird scenario to find themselves in, but again, due to the power that Oberon and Black Grail bring with that synergy together, the more units that they make function well with Oberon, the better that unit performs overall comparatively to other units. So it is what it is. This is just kind of a problem of the dev zone making. Maybe at some point in the future, they'll come out with a Oberon-esque unit that does things differently. Maybe again, like instead of giving NP damage up, it gives quick up boost or something like that. Or maybe it gives the same NP damage boost, but instead of its third skill having buster up, it has quick up. So there could be ways they could make another unit like Oberon, but again, then we get into the weird scenarios of, is it also a 70% charger? Because if it is, then we have two 70% chargers in the game. And then any unit in the game can 3-turn from basically minus 10%. Now, what that means is that you can function from basically a 90% starting charge standpoint rather than 100% starting charge. So that'd be really nice. That would functionally make every unit in the game able to 3-turn, but I'm not sure how viable that would be, and I'm not sure how much people would actually want to do that sort of stuff. So it is an interesting situation to find yourself in. But yeah, again, I do think at this point that this is a great upgrade for Britomart. It's well deserved. Britomart definitely, I feel like for a lot of people was pretty lackluster. I think, you know, obviously some of you guys rolled here for NA with her banner here. I rolled, but I know a lot of other people that probably skipped her in the hopes of some of the upcoming stuff coming up next year. So hopefully now this buff makes some people reconsider. I don't think she's going to be your best AoE Lancer, but she's a lot more competitive to where, you know, the other units kind of had been. Whew. That is winding for me. Chad, I don't think we're going to record the Goghie video tonight because that's like, even just doing that, and I did not like I did not do a full like unit analysis and everything else, right? Like that was straining like my breath capacity there. So we'll probably punt that to like Monday or something, but feel if anything Osaka Behime with one really good buff could be that amazing quick support. The problem with Osaka Behime has been basically what the players want for her and what the developers want for her are two different things. So the developers keep taking her down a route that they believe she's suited for, probably to not make her competitive with certain other units. Unfortunately, this is not what the player base wants, and this is why there's usually a more negative opinion of Osaka Behime. Don't put yourself here. I'm feeling well. Yeah, I mean, like, I have energy still, but this is still like voice-wise and lung capacity-wise, this is pretty straining. It's like it's easier for me to like take breaths and stuff. And you saw there were like at least a couple times during that I had to like stop and take a breath there. She's basically an off tank. Could be nice. She could taunt. But she does have some buffing capacity. She does have the ability to buff strip. I really like that about Osaka Behime, but I feel like she's got two major issues. One is that she doesn't really protect the party very well. And two is that her healing is not really healing. Like, to me, she needs to be doing a lot more sustain-wise if that's what they really want to, like, put her into the role of. Which it feels to me like that's what they're trying to do with her. They're trying to make her more of a challenge-esque unit, somebody that's good for quick in those environments. But to me, she doesn't really work that well even still. Like Osaka Behime is quite nice for, again, like the buff stripping, and she can actually solo quite well, interestingly enough. But that's kind of where like her viability to me stops a little bit. And it's like it's not that she's unusable, it's more that like kind of like with the discussion we were having the other night, like you have to find a reason to take her to the node. And that reason is not going to be that she's the best, it's going to be that you want to use her for that node. Yeah, the battery only being 30% could certainly be better. More so she can't actually pseudo heal like Proto Merlin with HP max up. Yeah. What's going on? We were just going over Britomart. Britomart just got a NP interlude. But how are you doing tonight, game? Also, I'm sick for anyone that's coming in here. Whenever CQ appears, instead of letting it die with the event, they put it in a separate tab that makes the CQ permanent. I think like there's a good discussion to be had about like repetitive CQs and story content. And I think that's something that they should try to do eventually. And like, because I'm just going to be realistic with you guys. Even if we say we want it and we want it now, it still would not be something that they could do overnight, right? Like, so I think it's something that they need to work towards and they need to start trying to do. And I think that would be a good idea. I'm of the opinion, though, that while they should offer these things, that they should not lock a bunch of like rewards behind it, and that it should be more of a, if the player desires to do this, they can, rather than a requirement. And the more rewards you put behind something like that, the more of a requirement it becomes. 20%? Sorry, yeah. Did I say 30? A lot of her support is gated behind her hard to get to NP. Yep, I think that's one of the things they could really help her out with. Like, a little bit, giving her like some sort of like self-charge per turn, even if it wasn't party-wide. Party-wide would be even better, but giving her like some sort of self-charge per turn component would really help her out. Even if they attached it to an NP. Like, they could turn her into a pseudo Merlin at that point. Give Crit Star up to a probably quick unit. Yeah, that's... I think there's a couple, like, issues where when Osaka Behime first came out, I think it was, like, their idea, maybe, of, like, hey, what can we do to kind of, like, help Quick along? And then they tried to do something different than they had done with other conventional sports, and they kind of messed it up. And then along came Scotty, and Scotty was the like one that stood on Osaka Behime's shoulders. And in the process, they weren't sure what to do with Osaka Behime again. And so they started to try to turn her into this like Buster Quick hybrid. And I think that was where they fucked up. That's where they went wrong. Like, in doing that, they made Osaka Behime not really have very much identity. And so because of that, she's now this like kind of wide open kit that I'm not going to say it's like counterintuitive with itself, but it doesn't feel like it does anything very strongly. Charge also has debuff clear. Yeah, that is one of the nice things about it. Whew. All I want is a 10 out of 10 Wang. That's buff. I mean, how buff? Because I should have an NP2 10 out of 10 Wang up. They didn't want to make a Merlin, yeah. When the hilarious port at this point is that they need to. Like, Quick needs a Merlin. That's one of the big things holding it back. It needs a unit that provides meaningful sustain, and it needs a party charger. Those are like the two things that it really needs. Because at the current point in time, Quick is very ill-suited to overcome odd structured nodes without relying on crit. And if you want to rely on crit, that's a thing. But crit comes with card RNG. And card RNG is, well, RNG. So they, like, most people will shy away from that. It's not like, you know, like how I've pointed out with like Bunny, where, excuse me, I can almost guarantee the outcome. Instead, it's more like you are literally just fishing and hoping to get lucky. And in some cases you might, in other cases you might not. And so I think that's a huge problem that Quick faces. Is that's Quick's solution is supposed to be to handle odd structured nodes by critting down a wave. It doesn't work very well if you don't get the cards. So they either need to find some way to make cards more viable, or they need to find some way to make the system overall more viable. And I think it's probably better to make the system overall more viable, because the more they start messing with card RNG, the more they're really going to power creep the crap out of their game. Like, the more consistent they make carding, basically that defeats the point of NPing at that point. Because you can card very hard in some circumstances with the right setups. Osaka Behime does not have the direction needed in the sport. Yeah, that's my biggest issue with her. It's not that her kit's bad. It's not that there's like not some good stuff in there. There is. She feels very directionless. The only thing they had to do is remove the time limit. Yeah. I don't have you, Cad. Yeah. I actually need to sit down and like look through my friends list again. Pull up the sub list and see who's working. Haven't had the time. Quick gets a 30% party charge, and that would allow for Quick to run multi DPS setups. Yep, and that's the big thing it needs. It really needs that. And I've stated this before, that like Quick needs a sustain unit and Quick needs a party charger, and people scream at me like, "No, it's not what it needs. Quick's too strong already for like challenge, and like Quick, yeah." And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, the fact remains that Buster and Arts both have these things. Quick's the only one that doesn't. So Quick is just naturally hurt by that. Like, just give it the same tools that the other two card types have. I think that's fair, right? Like, it to me, it's not about like basically if Quick's too strong for certain other things, that's a bridge that can be, you know, crossed when we get to that bridge. but we can't even get to that bridge because we're 2 bridges away still. And right now those 2 bridges are burnt down. So don't know who's Quick Merlin. He's a boogeyman at the moment. Honestly, they could get Cinna Riku a buff and make her that, funnily enough, because right after Riku, Kukulkan came out and straight up does targeted at 50% Riku wanted. Yeah. I mean, it's really funny because we have other units out there for like the quick scenario that okay, fandom, I'll let you completely fucking load because you're a pile of crap. We have other units out here like Daiko Kuten, and the rats are like a prototype for what like a future of quick could look like. And I once got into an argument with someone, and they argued with me that they felt like the developers were buffing every quick unit rather than, again, like buffing any of the quick supports or giving the quick, like giving a new quick support. I'm not going to say they're wrong, because at least as at this current point in time, that is the track that the developers are on. However, that is a flawed system. And the reason why? Because you'll never buff all the quick units. Never. It'll never be a thing. Like, that will take you way too long, as opposed to just releasing a new unit that does more things and makes them more money. Like, one is an incredibly foolhardy and like terrible approach for monetization. The other makes them shit tons of money and works really quickly. However, they haven't done the other, so maybe the devs are stupid. I don't really think the devs are stupid. I think the reason they haven't done the other is because they have a reason not to. Either somebody behind the scenes is saying no, not yet, or they are literally like, they know they have that unit coming and it's planned, but it's just like it's been so far into the future that they dared not like do anything else in the interim, because it might mess things up when that unit does come around. So again, that's the boogeyman argument, right? Yeah, Daiko Kuten is a look into a future where quick units are a little bit more self-sustaining, where, again, like Daiko Kuten basically increases their own quick performance and then increases the party's HP, gains critical stars every turn for 3 turns. They charge their own gauge and then charge the party's gauge every turn for 3 turns. And then, again, they increase the party's NP gen rate. So Daiko Kuten is a great unit in their own right, but they're also somebody that can work in this sort of like hybrid multi-DPS setup type world. So they're ahead of their time at the current moment in time. Quick doesn't have an easy way of doing this most of the time. But if we start to see scenarios where Quick could, then all of a sudden Quick starts to work a lot better, and Quick can handle the rigors of the like odd design nodes, as we've mentioned before. Like what? You had the perfect opportunity? Oh, our boogeyman, our long famed boogeyman at this point is God, what's his name? Japanese guy. Yeah, Abe no Seimei. Honest Abe. Abe has been rumored for a long time. He's really popular on the JP side of things. People really want to see him come into the game. It's to the point that it's somewhat like Muramasa, where anytime there's a hint of him, people start going crazy. They start looking for him in every nook and cranny that they possibly can be. And yet Abe no Seimei has yet to appear. Everybody knows Abe no Seimei is coming. It's just a matter of when. And that when has not been a thing yet. Like, Abe no Seimei has not appeared. But in this past year alone, we've gotten a couple of events that have occurred that have kind of cleared the way for someone like him to appear. So we'll see. And I recommend, if you want to know more on that, go talk to Trubs. He can explain it a lot better than I can. Yeah, Abe no Seimei is very likely to be a Merlin-esque character. Whether or not he's quick remains to be seen. But if you think about it from this standpoint, it would make sense that if your boogeyman for Quick is still to come, that Abe no Seimei could be that person. Because Abe no Seimei would be high profile enough that he would mandate that treatment, right? Like oh, the devs are basically afraid of making Quick too strong because they know they have, you know, a Quick Merlin or someone like that in the wings, right? Where they do it as a pseudo. It might be a thing. Like we've already memed that like Abe no Seimei is just gonna be Merlin basically, like with a Fu Manchu. Like it's gonna be another Merlin face and everyone's gonna be like, God damn it. But like it again, he's at least as of that like caliber of like person in history that he would warrant such fear. I do think it would still be incredibly stupid that they haven't done things like, again, like the low star supports. Like, even if you know you have another, like, big boogeyman type unit coming, it doesn't excuse, like, Quick just not having, like, any fucking options. So that's where, to me, like, I'm still going to fault the devs, no matter what comes of that. And I'm not promising you guys that Abe no Seimei is coming immediately here, or that he's Quick, right? That it's entirely possible that neither of these things could be true. Santa Scotty will come and save Quick. I'd love that. It's going to be a huge year for them servant wise. I would expect that. Like I would expect that. Chad, if there's any year that you can get your hopes up for, it's year 10. And if they disappoint us, that's their own damn fault, because there's going to be a lot of lofty expectations because it's year 10. Right? And then people say like, oh, well, we shouldn't get our expectations up. That's normally what I would tell you, but I'm not going to tell you that for year 10, because year 10, people are going to have their hopes up. People are going to be hoping for big things, big fixes, big changes, big units. Ryko Saber will save Quick. You know, it's interesting because we've definitely seen over the years like the evolution of what it means to be a support, and how like that's branched out from different classes. It used to be basically only casters, and now like we're starting to see that into a whole bunch of other classes. There's still some classes that don't really have a true support. Like there's supportive characters. Like for instance, with archers, you have units like Chiron. You can do like party-wide Quick and a targeted like tricolor buff. But you don't have like a meta support or somebody that's close to a meta support. Like at least like with sabers, you can point to you can point to like Nero Bride, right? So like it'd be interesting to see if they did something like that for some of the other classes. Yoshitsune, I see. Free limited SSR, or is it too much copium? I don't know. Like I think you'll be a GSSR of some sort. There probably might even be an SSR ticket, but we'll see. Like I won't make any promises, because I feel like, well, I'm not going to tell you that you can't get your hopes up. I think like that sort of thing is going to be like all over the place a little bit, right? Like the devs are just kind of be doing like a bunch of different stuff, and it'll kind of remain to be seen what like the big name stuff is. There's things that the community wants. There's things that like that other people want that are different, right? Like, and then there's the things that the devs want, and what the devs want and what the community wants may just be two completely different things. This has just kind of always been the issue. No, I did that right, I think. Melo's comp is so many buttons. Yeah. Mellow, and this is something that I've pointed out to people before, and I know Mellow fans don't like to hear, but Mellow comps are actually pretty slow to run most of the time. Her NP is not a very quick MP, and it's partially because they added like several seconds there, even with the accelerated version of like her flying up, that they probably could have cut out, and it would have made the NP a lot faster. But again, it is what it is. As long as it's a consistent comp, you don't really care most of the time. Dude, I swear that guy looks like freaking Ego Raptor. He's like a more slim Ego Raptor. Cad, what's your total box count? Closing in on 240. Hello. Running 5C. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I know I keep running 6 slot, and then I'm telling you guys there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm dead serious about this. When I did these lottos and stuff on JP, I was 5 slotting it. And I did perfectly fine in these lottos. Like, you guys really don't have to worry about it that much. Is there a difference in efficiency? Yes. It's not the end of the world, though. Farming trying to distract myself. Something happened? Like, I don't know if it's like appropriate to ask, right? But how am I doing? Well, I'm sick, but otherwise I'm doing fine. I'm just basically a little bit under the weather. Yeah, it's all good, Ash. Farming, I wish I had an auto button. I feel that, right? Like, I understand why people want it. It's literally just for like lottos would be the only thing that I would ever feel like that. And I don't like I'm fine with it. I don't find it to be too difficult, but admittedly, I'm somebody that's like way ahead, right? So like a lot of the burden for farming is off of me at the moment. I don't have to like go very hard into lottos anymore, which is kind of wild to say that, because, you know, again, up until this lotto, every single lotto on NA, I have done 500 boxes with only one exception. Sorry, only 2 exceptions. The 2 exceptions are the very first 2 lottos that ever occurred in FGO. And the very first one was with the old lotto rules where it was 800 currency per box, of which I did 350 boxes back then instead of 500, which hilariously enough equates out to the same number of currency pretty much. Like 350 boxes at 800 a pop is almost the same as again like 500 boxes at 600 a pop. So, and then there was it the first Da Vinci lotto. The first Da Vinci lotto, it happened literally in the middle of like the main tax deadline, and that year we were really like pushed, and it was awful. It was like the worst time of year to have a lotto. I will always hate when they have a lotto at that time of year, and it hard fucked me. I only did like 45 boxes in that lotto. I was lucky to like get anything out of that. Which is why like I destroyed that lotto when it reran. But those are the only 2 times I've never done 500 on an A. And now here I'll be not doing 500. What did I just do? Oh boy. This is it's gonna get spicy. Yeah, this is here. Let me gift chat a sub. This is not gonna be good. Da, 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 da. There you go, Kyobe. Enjoy your gift sub for my stupidity. Okay. Actually, I shouldn't have done that, but whatever. Oh, no! No! I meant to hit that! No! No! Oh man, this is getting worse. Okay, send it, Morgan. You know what? Give me that, and let's pre-card here because she'll kill, but I'm gonna try to get the most I can since I bricked her. Anonymous, thank you for the gift to Ash. Appreciate it. Double scuffed, yeah, it's just oof, right? Hmm. Yeah, I got you, Ash. I know what you're meaning. It's a big change. We did it, chat. We did it. But at what cost? Okay. At what cost did you achieve victory? Oh my god, this is awful. Doesn't matter. Just putting them in the second and the third slot. I actually have no idea if out of all like my analysis of like carding and stuff, I have no idea if like, because I know like the chain is broken and so you don't get the lead card bonus, but I have no idea if it matters still like that the card is the second or the third slot. I assume it does, so in general I put my cards later in the sequence than the broken cards, but I actually don't know. That's not anything I've ever actually looked into. Okay, so I could brick Oberon here. But I don't remember who I have in the back line. Oh, I got Mabe in the back line. I think I'm gonna sit on that. I don't think I'm gonna brick him because I can use that to purposely brick somebody for taunting purposes. I was watching the scuffness on YouTube, and I gotta say we've all been there on that. Oh, listen, it's chat knows. Like if I'm playing off stream, I rarely ever scuff and make mistakes. But when I'm on stream and I'm reading chat, especially like right now when I'm sick and like my focus is not all together there. Oh god, yeah, I make mistakes all the freaking time. It happens. It's because like, I've seen some people I've seen people mock me and say like, oh, Cad makes mistakes all the time. He's a terrible player and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, it's like, I'm not going to say I'm the best player out there or anything like that. It's like, the difference is I usually prioritize like entertaining for you guys over my gameplay. So I focus on you guys more than I probably should. But it's literally like, to me, why I've always assumed like my community's pretty robust and like you guys keep coming back night after night. Whereas like if I just ignored you guys all the time, I can't imagine you guys would very much care to come to stream. It should keep. Losing the position bonus would be pretty significant. Yeah, that's like that's what I've always assumed. I've just never been sure. Okay, so she should have one more turn on this. I have to actually think about this now. How do I want to handle this? Probably want to do it like that. See if I can get the see if I can get my Oberon to his MP. Actually, my Oberon's a little bit beat up, but Okay, now I have issues because nobody's at their NP and he's kind of got free reign for this turn. Gonna do it like that. Put the support card there last. Oh, that makes things more spicy. So I think how I'm going to play this is, again, we're carding him out. We're letting him get to his NP. I hope he doesn't charge here an instant NP. That would be really bad. Okay, that's also really bad, but whatever. Then basically, I'm going to put his ass to sleep. It's going to delay him another turn, buying me more valuable damage. And then he's going to kill himself. Is Cad saying we're the reason he's scuffed? Partially, but this one's mostly on me. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I think I was like looking over at the fight on the side. And I like did not notice and just like freaking like rotated. Say a servant can remove perma debuffs. They can't allow that because that would be way too hella abusive in the player's hands, right? Like, not even like, oh, this is gonna cause problems. He's very likely to kill the fuck out of Oberon. I hope he doesn't, but he probably will. Well, why not? I can do this, so let's do it. We can stall him again. Taunt equal fine. Well, yeah, it's like I don't mind repeatedly sleeping him so long as like he eventually kills left Oberon. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just buy time basically so that when Mabe comes in, he's knocked down to as low as he possibly can be so that Mabe doesn't have to really solo him very much. Because Mabe doesn't have much in the way of survivability. Kentucky will fucking wombo combo her. Oh, what the shit are these cards? Hold on. Okay, so then Kentucky does it to leftmost Oberon, murders the fuck out of him, and then gets another attack here. Oh, no, he got taunt glitch. Never mind. So, because that unit had taunt, and because he killed it with the first hit of the first attack, literally Kentucky's turn ends. It's great. Feels good, man. See if we can charm him. Sweet. Just get Mabe's. I probably could have led with the arts card there, but it is what it is. So the real question is, does he kill Oberon this turn? If he does, this is spicy. He does not. So I win. Oh, thank God. See, chat? Easy. Easy 3-turn. Easy 3-turn. It's like PTSD at this point. Ah, that's who I had in the back line. Yeah, that wouldn't have been good either. That would not have been good. All I know about WoW was it lost popularity compared to other MMOs and stuff in the genre, and then got dinged for a whole ton of stuff. Oh yeah, that's because like, so WoW itself did some stupid things, but as if that weren't enough of a problem, Blizzard themselves like buried themselves a couple of years back with all those allegations and crap. People stealing breast milk, people harassing the female employees and stuff. So, like, in that regard, like, I don't have the highest opinion of Blizzard, right? Like, and me playing WoW is just me trying to, like, differentiate the work from the artist in that regard, where, like, I enjoy the product, but it doesn't mean that I support Blizzard. Like, obviously my money does, but, like, philosophically, I don't stand for anything they say or do. Okay, there we go. I love these brawling fights. Well, it's why I say, like, if you know how to play the game, I can get out of that situation. Versus, like, somebody else would have to sit there and they would have to, like, either back out of the node or pop command seals, right? Like, I can get out of it without ever using any because I know how to, like, navigate the circumstances. Sometimes you just can't win, though. Sometimes if you don't have, like, enough of a backline and stuff, like, you're just fucked. But yeah, it just, again, like that's where, like, you know, to counter anybody claiming that I'm a terrible player at the game, it's like, oh, I know how to do things. Doesn't mean I pay attention, but I know how to do them. Let me write down the button sequence and add it to the sheet. Thank you. Yeah, it's a 6-slot 13 turn. Do it again? No. Want to bet he scuffs this run? I don't, like, chat, it's you that usually cause me to, and it's like if you distract me right at like the perfect moment and like I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, and then like my muscle memory decides to do other stuff. So that is like your advantage with this run, is because I have not committed all of this to muscle memory yet. That was almost bad. It's very likely to get me to scuff because my fingers will by default like do whatever the fuck I was doing on like the prior round instead. Whole bunch of homelanders running around. Oh yeah, I mean that's where like all the like hilarity of like the boys coming out is like people just making fun of that, right? And it's like it's kind of hilarious but kind of sad at the same time too. It sucks when it's forced scuff supports. Yeah. Good thing Oberon himself is quite strong. Mine's at least an NP2. So it's like there's at least a little bit of firepower there on that, but Oberon is normally strong when you use his third skill on himself. If you don't, Oberon's not that strong. Which is kind of the issue that you run into, is like, okay, you've already scuffed. Do you want to scuff further? Do you wish to brick even harder? A lot of runs, one more week, right? Yeah, we basically have like 6 more days. How was the fight going, Cad? The fight against myself? I heard that Amazon's coming out with animated 40k stuff. I know they were making a like 40k show, but that was apparently like starring Henry Cavill, but I guess like he backed out of that. But I haven't like heard if they're making like animated stuff now in place of that or in addition to that. Anyone else here watching Tyson v Jake Paul? Did the actual main fight start? Yeah, like I have it up on my side screen, but I'm not like currently watching it because I just 13 turned a node and I got rid of it so that I wouldn't scuff myself. Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, no, I did all that right. I just did it in a different order. 1.5 hours away. Jesus. They got canceled. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. And I'm going to say this again and again and again and again and again. Screw Hollywood, screw Amazon, screw Netflix, screw any of these like TV show producers if they want to like usurp a franchise and tell their own story. I'm okay with them trying to tell a new story within a franchise that's approved of by the creators, but I am sick and tired of these writers thinking that they can do it better than the originals. Boo Paul. I think most people want Mike Tyson to win at this point. I did poll everyone to see, but we'll just have to see like who actually comes out on top. Number Machi, thank you for the follow. Sorry, I'm just seeing it. And Ello, thank you for the resub. Thank you for the 48. Hope you're doing good today. But yeah, like I never understand these people that think like, oh, hey, it's this critically acclaimed like book or novel or something, or like video game or something like that. Everybody loves the story from this. You should make a show out of it. And they're like, yeah, okay, but I want to throw out like the entire story and write my own because I can do it better because I'm a Hollywood writer. You know what? If you're a Hollywood writer and you're not a critically acclaimed like New York Times best-selling author, there's probably a reason for that. Maybe, just maybe, Hollywood writers are not the best writers out there. And there's a reason that you're a Hollywood writer instead of making millions yourself. Fun, like fun thing to think about there. It is 5 months for them to make an agreement. Yeah, but I think like if Cavill's not involved, like I'm not gonna say it's gonna be trash, but there's like to me that's a bad sign that he himself didn't want to be part of it. Like at that point, it means that even though he's a fan of the series and he didn't want to be part of it, it means that like to me that probably Amazon is trying to write a shitty like adaptation, something that is like contrary to Warhammer. Paul's a lose-lose scenario. Going to be fun watching this. Yeah, I was talking about this the other day that if Jake Paul wins, everyone's going to say it's like, well, yeah, but you didn't beat Tyson at his prime. It's just because he's super old now. Because again, like I think like doctors were telling Tyson not to go through with the fight because he's too old. And then if Jake Paul loses, he's going to get ragged on for losing to even a super old Mike Tyson. The one thing I'll say, the one upside that Jake Paul has is Jake Paul's going to be a fucking millionaire, like more than he already is just from this fight, right? Like he is going to have made a shit ton of money win, lose, or draw. But yeah, I feel like socially, oh no, he can't win. Something where they're trying to make Rings of Power for Warhammer. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Because like as you guys know, there's been a big hullabaloo of late with like Games Workshop and them making female Astartes. So basically female Space Marines. The lore, the way it always was that only males could survive the intense process required to accept the Emperor's genome. And that's why they were only males. There were no females involved, though, in Warhammer. There's a shit ton of them, and including the supportive chapter to the Astartes, the Battle Maidens, I can't remember, the Sisters of something or other. Because again, I'm not like super Warhammer 40k pilled at this point, but like basically my understanding of it is that like yes, there are plenty of women in there, and some of them are incredibly badass, right? Like, but so the only thing here is that they're trying to like change the lore to force women into the Space Marines, and it's just really like poor form because it's been stated numerous times this is not possible, and now they're trying to claim that like, oh, they never said that, it totally is possible. So like Sisters of Battle, thank you. And like, yeah, I agree with the fans on that. I think it's really stupid. I'm not saying it from the point of like being exclusionary to women or anything like that. I think if that's the way the lore was set up, that's the way it should stay. And if they want to highlight, you know, like strong, like capable women, they should be being like, okay, like let's have a space marine for the show, and then let's have him paired up with a sister of battle. And like, boom, there you go. Like that's how you have your strong, like powerful woman and your strong, powerful man, and then everybody's happy. As opposed to like trying to change the lore just because you can't accept it. And I feel like that's really fucking stupid. And I say this as somebody that, again, Warhammer 40K is not like something that I grew up with, right? But I've had plenty of franchises that I grew up of where people have tried to like change them weirdly. Like, for instance, just with Rings of Power, all of a sudden, apparently now orcs can have families, even though they're born from like literally like mud and like elves in the past. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, but now we can have a family and we actually care about each other. And I'm like, no, that's never been a thing for the orcs. The orcs in Lord of the Rings are considered to be like corruption and evil incarnate. So it's like, it's really weird to see people try to like subvert the lore for an agenda that they're trying to push. Female custodes I'm fine with, since the Emperor is personally involved in creating each member. Yeah, I think like there's plenty of room for women in Warhammer, and if they really want to like make that a thing for a show or a comic, they could easily do that without subverting the lore. And that's why I agree with the fans that are up in arms about it. Like, it's the same thing like whenever people talk about the Star Wars sequels, inevitably there's somebody out there that's like, oh, you just don't like them because it's a female lead, and that's the whole reason that you don't like Rey is because she's female. And I'm like, no, actually, it's like some of my favorite characters in Star Wars are female. In particular, like Jaina Solo's really awesome and badass. Mara Jade Skywalker's really badass. And like even like if you go back to like the Old Republic era, like Bastila and Satele Shan are both amazing, right? Like, and that's low key what like Rey is based off of is Bastila. And so it's really funny that like they're like, oh, that's why you don't like the character. I'm like, no, I don't like the character because the character's bullshit. The character's just a Mary Sue. Like they didn't have to work or try for anything that they're given. And it's like, it's fucking insane to me. It's like, I would hate it if it were a male character in the same light. Like, it's really dumb. Like, it doesn't stop the character from being a bullshit character. Also, the Sisters of Battle hate most Space Marines. The Sisters are religious zealots who believe the Space Marines are mutated heretics. Yeah, and so, like, you can have a fun, like, tit-for-tat thing where, like, you have a Space Marine that's stranded with a Sister of Battle, and they have to, like, fight together and get out alive, right? And so the whole time, you could just have, like, each one of them busting the other one's balls. And, like, literally just them, like, you know, hating each other, but then coming to like respect each other in the end. And like, that would be a really fun and cool story, I feel like. And I say that this has probably already been told in Warhammer 40k lore. I need more Asajj Ventress. Yeah, like there are plenty, like even evil characters. There are plenty. Well, I guess Asajj in the end wasn't evil, but that's, you know, Clone Wars stuff. But like, yeah, I think there's plenty of like cool and interesting stories that you can tell within the lore of these like IPs without subverting them, right? People don't dislike female leads, they dislike shit writing. Yes. People and I think a lot of it is too because like inevitably then you have like the female lead like thumbs her nose at the screen and is like, you know, like this is why I need to be the strong independent woman, or like this is why you never send a woman to do a man's job, right? Like and it's a line that'll resonate really well with females, but like for males, it'll just come across as like, all right, this is just like you shoving this down our throat. Like it's you basically preaching down to us and looking down on us. So like, I can completely understand why people just dislike that. Like, you don't need lines like that. Just make the character a badass and don't have them ever state it. Just make them badass. And as long as you make them badass and you don't keep preaching about it, everyone will like it. It's when you keep turning to the camera and reminding the audience that this is the way things should be that everyone gets really fucking pissed. Everyone just goes, I don't want to deal with this anymore. They paired a Sister of Battle with a Salander. Yeah, and I think that'd be really cool. Like, just do it again, just in like live action, right? The majority of the Space Marines think the sisters are cringe. They believe in the Imperial truth, not the Imperial creed. I mean, I get confused about that shit too. So I guess I'm a heretic in that regard. But like, you know, again, I think it's like, it's perfectly fine. There are ways that they can do this stuff. And if they want to have a female-centric show or role or something like that, they can absolutely do that. Like, again, some of my favorite characters in various different video games and various different shows are females. So I don't really have a problem with it. Like, my issue is because it's a woman. No, it's like, I don't care that it's a woman. I care that the character's well written. I care that the character behaves like a normal woman does. Because, like, if a normal woman were to try and, like, come up to me and, like, say some of those things, I would just tell that person off. I would not care. Like, make a Guts or a Zoro type character. Well, like, as a woman, or like just in general, like for a 40k show. Imperial truth: the Emperor's not a god. I see. What units are good in this game? These women as DPS and these males as support. This edgy twink fairy makes them do over 1 million damage. Why would you say things like that? Like, you're not wrong, but why would you say things like that? This whole channel is based around Saber. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I like women, right? Like, and quite literally, like, a gender bend of a traditional male character, right? And quite literally my favorite male character in that regard. So, you know, oh, well, does that make me a hypocrite? Because I like the one instance where somebody did change the lore in theory. I'm like, well, not really, right? Like, to me, this is somebody's entirely different IP. And yeah, they changed, you know, like Saber to being female. But I really like this iteration. I really feel like it's well done. And I don't feel like it was done for like a preaching reason. It was done more because, hey, this is something different that no one's ever done before. Why don't we try it, right? And sure enough, it worked. And it, you know, has sold millions of copies at this point. So I think we can say this one was successful, right? I thought we were talking about good female characters in general, but a little bit of A, a little bit of B. You do not just call Oberon a twink fairy? I mean, that's what somebody on the YouTube side said. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that, like, to a degree, everybody in the 40k universe just knows that, like, all the factions are trying to do their part, even if, like, they don't completely agree. They're quote unquote on the same side, because it's like, you know, it's them versus chaos at that point. I think it's maybe the only thing I'm not super enthusiastic about, like with 40k, as opposed to like something like, say, Star Wars, is that 40k feels very much order versus chaos, and there's very little like in between. It feels like the in between is within those two factions. Like, you do have some more gray people within the factions, but like it seems weird that there's almost like nobody that's neutral. And I guess I understand it from the standpoint of like the whole galaxy's at war, and so therefore nobody like really can afford to be neutral. But like, it is definitely an interesting thing to me. Like, it's part of what makes the 40k universe unique and awesome, but it's also like, I think it's maybe to a degree why I prefer like Star Wars as a universe instead, where it's like there is a war going on, but it's not so wide scale that like every person every second of every day has to be doing their part. Proto shows that the original idea had Arthur be normal gender. Yeah. Yeah, and Proto's still good, right? So it's like, it's an interesting thing to say the least that, like, irregardless, the writing is just good and it's not being done, you know, because of an agenda. So it's like, in Nasu's case, he's writing it just to tell a really good story and it shines through. And that's usually what always shines through. And I think that's, like I said, that's usually why people get upset over like modern Hollywood at this point in time, is that it usually has an agenda, as opposed to like if you're just trying to tell a really good story. Again, it's that preaching aspect that makes people just go like, ugh, please stop. Being made by a woman who does a shoujo manga normally does, though. So I've seen a lot of like people talking about that in the last like year, about like how like, oh well, you know, like women are actually the lewd ones because like there's so many women that draw like eroge and stuff like that, and then simultaneously like, oh, like look at how great like these stories are because they're written by women. And I'm like, none of that fucking matters. Who the author is does not matter. What matters is the work good? At the end of the day, that's really all that matters, right? Like, because I think especially nowadays with how like upset people get over like the positions of certain authors and artists and stuff, is like, you need to instead be able to detach those things and look at like, do you enjoy the body of work that the person put out? If yes, then enjoy it. Stop thinking about how that person thinks or behaves or feels, right? That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is your own. You can choose not to because maybe you don't want to support them or something like that. But at the end of the day, to me, all you're doing is costing yourself some amount of enjoyment. And I think that's like why usually people that are like that end up being probably a little bit like more angry about stuff overall. Like they end up not having like as enjoyable of a life, is because they let that external stuff ruin things for them. Like, for instance, using the 40K example again, yeah, it seems like Games Workshop is doing some stupid stuff that's subversive to the lore. So you have two choices. You can choose to not embark upon any of 40K's like greater media as a whole because you don't want to condone that stuff. Or you can continue to read it and enjoy it because you just enjoy that universe. And you could just say, well, Games Workshop's stupid and to hell with them. But I'm still going to enjoy this. I'm not going to let them ruin it, right? And that's where, like I said, like, to me, you're usually probably happier if you just still partake in the work. Maybe you don't give them as much money. Maybe you don't support them as much anymore. But it shouldn't stop you from enjoying the product that is, right? In the same way that, like, Disney basically fucked Star Wars. But I still enjoy Star Wars, at least from the way it used to be, and at least in the sense of, like, the expanded universe that they decanonized. So, like, I still love that. They can decanonize it all they want. It's canon to me. These sequels are what's decanonized. And this is what's really funny, I think, to me and a lot of other people, is I feel like a lot of people with Star Wars feel the same way. That no matter how much Disney tries to push the sequels on you, the sequels are not canonical. Disney can take the official stance that they are, but to the vast majority of fans, the sequels are not. And the fans will win in the end. Because they're who ends up paying for everything. So it's like, it doesn't matter how much Disney wants to force it to be the case. If the fans never accept it, it's their own fault, right? The fact that Takeuchi Nasu and Raida have to hold back Wada Arco is really funny. I keep hearing people saying that, but I haven't seen the thing that people are referring to, so I'm not like I can't offer any like judgment on that without actual firsthand knowledge. Was the basis for the idea of a female space marine in the story? That gets like spicy, I would say at that point, because then I don't know. I'd probably rather not get into that for the purposes of stream, but at least I would say like that's going to muddy the waters, and you're going to get people claiming that on one side, oh, well, then you have a female, and on the other side, people are going to claim, no, then you still don't. And like, this is just, you know, like people basically quibbling over nothing, right? The entirety of 40K has been constantly getting retconned since the beginning. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I saw there was a lot of like hullabaloo over Fallout, right? And the fact that, like, you know, when the show came out, people are like, oh, well, they changed this or they changed that. It didn't, like, it wasn't one-to-one with the way the game was and stuff like that. And it's like, really, the majority of it, like, there was nothing actually in violation. And then people went up and they asked the original creator of Fallout what he thought of the show, and he said he was fine with it. And that when they brought up the fact that there were some things that seemingly had been retconned from the original Fallout, he pointed out that every single Fallout game has retconned things, including, like, the second Fallout game retconned stuff from the first and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, it's just a thing, and he's not bothered by it as long as, like, the core essence of, like, what Fallout is still there. And I think, like, good for him, because I agree with him in that regard. As long as, like, the retcon is not, like, destructive to the entire lore of an IP, who cares about it, right? Like, you could just choose to ignore it, basically, and say, like, well, that was stupid. Retcon could be done in a tasteful way. Yeah, that too. And I think, like, at least with Fallout, most of those retcons are done with respect to the original lore rather than as opposed to it. Disney will memory flash everyone so they forget. I mean, the problem with that, White, is if Disney memory flashes everyone, everybody will forget about Disney. Disney Star Wars is apocryphal. Yeah, and that's like going back to the Star Wars example. Part of the problem with Star Wars is that it's not just a retcon. Like the sequels and particular Acolyte, the show that recently came out this past year. Like, the problem with both of those is that they are so retcon-y that they are, like, actually destructive to the original lore of the series. Like, for instance, in the Acolyte, they quite literally destroy the entire fact that Anakin is the chosen one. And the entire basis of, like, the Skywalker prophecy. There can't be one if Acolyte as a show is true. So Acolyte has to be non-canonical. It can't be. Because it literally flies in the face of the original movies. The mouse is eternal? Oh, I thought you meant my mouse on the screen, but yeah. So it's like, that's the problem that Disney runs into. That's where you don't just have a retcon, you have a fuck up. It's like, imagine instead in 40K, if all of a sudden somebody came on screen and they said, yeah, but it's a good thing we're not in space. And, like, they were heavily implying that the entirety of Warhammer 40K does not take place in space. And you would just sit there and you would be like, that makes zero sense. And that's, like, destructive to the core existence of the IP. Therefore, this cannot be true. Like, you just assume that character's a liar? Or that, again, that, like, the entire, like, work of fiction that character is in is thrown out. It's a simulation, yeah. Yeah, you're all actually inside the Emperor's arcade machine? Which space are we talking about? I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to get too specific with it, but that's kind of the like, what happened with Star Wars. It's like the entire basis of the movie trilogies basically just got thrown out by Acolyte. And that's why everyone's so deeply upset with Acolyte. And they tried to do it in a way where they're like, oh, but this is actually the reason why Anakin was a virgin in the Force. And it's like, yeah, but then that means that he's not the only time that it's happened. He's not unique. And quite literally, he's not the chosen one. And whatever the supposed prophecy of the chosen one is actually defunct and bullshit. Which flies in the face of, like, the entire prequels and the main original, like, trilogy. So at that point, you're like, okay, well, that was a take. That was something that you could have said. It's wrong, but you're welcome to say it. Like, Acolyte is fan fiction. It literally has to be, and that's the sad part about it. Like, even if they wanted it to be true, the community will never accept it. Like, not that like there aren't some people out there that won't like Acolyte. There probably are, but quite literally, like, it cannot exist and coexist with the existing lore. And the one thing that they have kind of preserved from the original LucasArts days with Star Wars is that if you have what's the word? If you have like a canonical clash between the movies and any other source, so like books, video games, comics, anything. If there's any clash lore-wise with any of those other things and the movie is always right. Like, the movies are the highest canon. So therefore, Acolyte is decanonized by the movies themselves. Which is great. I love being able to throw that back in people's faces. And it's the writer's own fault. They should not have written it that way. I've been vibing off 40k fanfics of late. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this too. It's a bad sign when the fanfics start to become better than the original stories. Like, if you start to prefer fanfics to like the current media that's coming out, that's not a good sign, right? Like, and I don't know. As somebody that doesn't consume 40k stuff, I couldn't tell you if it is better or not. But fanfics can be good. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with a fanfic being a nice thing. It's just their fanfics, so you always understand that like whoever's writing them usually is going to like have their own preference. They had this really cool idea that they wanted to tell everybody, right? But in some cases, shit, that's better than what the writers would have written. These companies are just producing very expensive fanfics. Yeah. Like I said, I'm surprised, and the one that like really I just don't understand is that like Amazon with Rings of Power. I can't understand how Amazon looks at that and goes like, yeah, this is worth our $2 billion. Like, Amazon literally has the most expensive show ever made, and people are trashing them over it. And you look at that and you go like, this can't be good for you. Like, apparently it's still somewhat successful for them because so many people do still watch it. But like, I gotta feel like there's some opportunity cost there. Where if it were like actually true to form and everyone was loving it and raving about it, that this would be making like so much more. And everybody and their brother would be watching it. Instead of like the general consensus being that it's bad and no one should watch it. With Revan, yeah. Well, supposedly they're still trying to make a Knights of the Old Republic movie trilogy. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but like, I'm terrified. Like, it's a good idea. But I'm terrified because it's Disney that's doing it. And again, as you guys know, most of the writers that originally were around and wrote Knights of the Old Republic are no longer with BioWare. Maybe Disney could scoop them up, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that. Too broke to afford 40k books? I gotcha. Yeah, everything's so expensive. When I was ordering my meal earlier, chat. So like, I ordered from this one place, and that's the place where the guy tried to grift me. And then I went to order, and I ordered from like a local Chili's. While I was ordering from the local Chili's, I looked through the appetizers, and chips and salsa. Okay, just chips, just salsa, nothing else. $10. $10 fucking dollars for just chips and salsa. And I looked at that and I was just like, holy shit, this needs to stop. I was like, this is just ridiculous. It's like, I remember a time where that shit would have been like $2. It's like, this is just ridiculous. It's like, there's nothing actually costly in that. The salsa is the most costly thing, and you're producing it by the freaking gallon. Been watching Laura YouTube and podcast. Yeah, Laura YouTubes are great. I love that. I love like just sitting down and like I did that when I first started like trying to get interested in 40K. I just sat down and I watched like Bricky's like explanations of a bunch of things, and they were awesome. Highly recommend watching Bricky's stuff because he's entertaining as all hell. Removing the date for the new Star Wars movie project today. Yeah, I like. They're in trouble. They cannot please anyone right now because no one trusts them. The trust is absolutely gone from Disney. And it's well deserved at this point. I thought they had a $10 meal at Chili's though. I don't know. I didn't see one. Must resist the urge to roll on Kentucky when he comes out. Kentucky's great, especially since he got his NP interlude. Like, back in the day without his NP interlude with break bars in place, Kentucky was in a really weak state unless you had a high NP level of him. But nowadays, he's a lot better. Bricky, that man cost me my wallet. I like Bricky, though. He's really entertaining. Brought stuff from a store and made your own chips and salsa that'd be cheaper. Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. I mean, like, I already have chips sitting right here, so it's like I'd probably have to go out and pay like $3 for some salsa, and that would be it. And that's still paying an overpriced store markup. And at least with that, I get to eat all I want. Disney has removed a planned Star Wars movie from its 2026 release calendar. Which movie was it, Avalon? Just out of curiosity. Because I've probably heard of it, but off the top of my head, I don't know which one. Kind of glad I never watched the Disney movies for Star Wars. If you guys want, we can hate watch the Star Wars sequels one day. Where like I can go through it and I can just absolutely like gutter trash half the freaking movie. And like I wouldn't even have to use lore. I can just I can nitpick the writing and still like turn it into a shit heap. Or it's like, this makes no sense because of something they already showed. Looks like it was an unnamed movie. Interesting. The Last Jedi was really good. All right, un-VIP. Hey. Just kidding. Please tell me that was sarcasm. The film is being replaced by Ice Age 6. You know what? Ice Age 6 is probably going to be a better, higher grossing film. I hate to say that. I was just playing. I know. I'm joking. There is at least 48 varieties of squig. Wait, really? Adeptus ridiculous. That sounds great. Had fun spoiling episode 7. People were getting mad like many others. I mean, it's really bad when the best movie in the sequel trilogy is the movie that almost like 1-to-1 copied A New Hope. It's like, it's really bad when that's the best movie of those three. Orcs don't have hair, they wear squigs. What? Legion posted an article on that in Gaming News. Let me see. Ow. Almost being replaced by Ice Age 6. Yeah, this is basically what they're trying to do. And this is partially like this has me deeply upset. Because what this line right here, rebuilding the new Jedi Order. This is literally what Luke does in the expanded universe. And it's also funny because this is also what Luke does in the Disney verse. And then they kill Luke off. And now they're doing it again? So it's not the new Jedi Order anymore. It's the new Jedi Order. And I'm like, I hate this. I hate everything about it. It's like, it's terrible. It's terribly written already, with just based off the premise alone. New Jedi Order 2.0, yeah. Just say no. I know, like... Directed documentaries like Saving Face and recently helmed episodes of the Marvel series Miss Marvel. Oh, that's not a good sign. Holy shit. Set the furthest in the future in the Star Wars timeline that we've seen in live action. Well, yeah. But so were the sequels. Oh, that explains everything. I didn't realize Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019. That's why we got COVID. That explains so much. The film served as the final chapter in the Skywalker saga. Or did it? Whose Maria looks to be a major contender is no longer writing the new Star Wars movie that would be centered around Rey. Okay, so they replaced the writer. That's already a bad sign. Still, you're assured that the film is still very much in development. Oh, no. So they replaced the writer in the middle of development rather than like before development even began? That's even worse. Like they should have said, oh, well, we haven't even started development yet. That would have been a better sign. The fact that they've said it's still very much in development means they shit can the writer halfway through the project. I mean, it may not be halfway, right? But it's like, that's definitely not a good sign. He joined the project in 2023, replacing prior screenwriters. Oh man, boy, I can't wait for this movie. I don't envy any of these people. If they were to come to me and be like, hey, can you write this story? We'll get rid of the old writers. I would be like, no. Write it yourself. Filming was intended to begin in early 2024. That did not happen. Instead, The Mandalorian and Grogu, a feature film version of the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, began filming in 2024 and is set to release on May 22nd, 2026. You know what? This will be a better movie and probably gross more money than all the Star Wars sequels. I hate to say it. Like, I'll go watch this in movie theaters. I will not, like, I did not watch anything after episode 7 in movie theaters. It's just like, oh my god, that just makes me like, whoa. Everything there is bad. They could have made money on the OG expanded universe. I suspect, like I said, it was like licensing issues and royalties were why they probably didn't do the expanded universe. And I'm okay if they didn't want to like one-to-one adapt the expanded universe, but the fact they just took the whole thing and threw it out is like, oh man, I think that's ridiculous. And I hate to say it, if I were an author and I wrote, like, for instance, a book on the creation of the new Jedi Order, and Disney threw out the expanded universe and then said they're going to make a movie about the creation of the new Jedi Order, I would sue Disney's ass. And I would literally sue them for copyright infringement. And I would say not copyright infringement, for plagiarism. I would say you've literally taken the ideas presented in my novel. You have not compensated me for it. Pay me. And then Disney is still going to run afoul of the same shit they tried to get out of. Can't wait for Ice Age 6. Yeah. So bad it's good cult classic incoming. Well, so like Mandalorian season 3 was very poorly received, but reportedly that's the one that Kathleen Kennedy finally sunk her claws into. And that's why like Mandalorian season 3 doesn't really focus on the Mandalorian, which is what everyone has a problem with. And that's kind of like the issue overall with it. And I didn't think it was terrible, but it's certainly the worst of the 3 seasons. And I really hope that if they ever do a season 4, that it's a lot better than what they're currently trying to do. They literally could have done a series about Ye Old Mandalorian Empire and the fate of the clones. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a different writer for all 3 movies, but I didn't expect there to have been a switch midway, though. I mean, I'm going to say this. The fact that there was a different writer for all 3 movies is half the problem, right? Like, you can't write a trilogy with 3 different writers. It's not going to go well because different writers have different like ideas and stuff that they want to bring to the table. And without, like working, like it'd be one thing if you had 3 different writers writing a trilogy, but they all work together on it. That's a different story. But when it's 3 different writers working separately on the same project, no, that's terrible. It's doomed to fail. Like guaranteed 10 out of 10 times that will fail. And that's where like I don't understand why Disney thinks this has any hope of success if they keep doing stuff like this. Like you look at this and you can spot the failure from a mile away. This isn't like, oh man, let's wait and see till it comes to the movie theaters. Maybe it'll actually be good. No, like it's going to be bad before it hits the theaters. Why? Because they keep projecting all the like bad signs. It's like it's almost like a example of what not to do in all their stuff. Bad idea, like make a Witcher series and not focus on the Witcher. Such a bad idea. No one would do that. Yeah, who would do that? Netflix. And that's you're not even wrong on that one, laid back. Like that's literally like the exact same problem with the Witcher series. I watched season 3 because like at least the production value was there, and it's not like there's much else to watch on Netflix. But season 3 of The Witcher was god awful. Like it was worth watching almost like in the background as I'm playing a video game, rather than like, hey, let me actually focus and watch this because it's so gripping. Oh, that's the lowest she's rolled yet. Oh, I didn't pop the Mystic code, I think. I think that's why I had that issue. I watch for Henry Cavill. I mean, I like Henry Cavill. I don't think he's the best actor ever, but I would still like if you told me Henry Cavill was in something, I do like him as an actor. So like I'd be more inclined to watch it if he's involved. But Henry Cavill's not the only actor I feel that way about. I think you can, but balancing the load is important. You can't put each in charge of an individual episode because then it feels disjointed. Yeah, usually, like, so that actually happens with TV shows all the time, where you have different writers in charge of different episodes, but usually there's like a lead writer, right? Like there's somebody that's coordinating it all, so that there is a master design and there is a like concerted effort to make it all flow together well. As opposed to like, hey, let's have 3 different people work separately on the project and not compare any notes. Oh man, that's not going to go well, right? Like that. There's just no way that works effectively. You have to have them work together. You can't have them work separately. Did anyone watch that? For which one? What, like season 3 of The Witcher? I did. 90++ looks like a struggle for my Mabe NP. This is NP2, so you don't have to have a like really robust one, but if you have at least an NP2, she'll be fine. NP1 probably not doable in 3 turns, like because like you would need really good carding luck, and the problem that you have with at least this comp is that Morgan gets bricked in wave 2. Heard his World War II movie kind of bombed despite the trailer hype. I'd watch the movie. Which movie was he in? Because I do remember that he was in a World War II movie. Also, guest writers. Yeah, you can have guest writers because like what a guest writer is they like approach the writer and they say, hey, we want you to write an episode for the show. This is what the show's about. Can you come up with like a cool idea? And then the guest writer will be like, hey, what about this? And they'll be like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Write that for us, right? Like, or they'll be like, hey, no, we've already done something like that. How about a different idea, right? Like, so guest writers can do it. And then if there needs to be changes, they'll work with the staff on that. But again, it's the same deal. Like, you'll have a like lead writer in charge of it all. The Witcher spinoff show? Wait, is there like a new one? I know they did like the animated one. The animated one was good. That one centers around Vesemir. I liked it. Want Mabe to NP me? Of course you do. Gonna try to run it NP1 and see. Yeah, I mean, there's no harm. Just try it out and see how you feel. Department of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Oh, I can't say I've ever heard of that. So maybe I just saw like previews of it myself, but never actually heard what it was. I forgot to roll for NP2 of May, ran out of Sacorts. Luckily, I found a comp with a Summer Kiara that works. To be honest, it's slightly unstable. Well, as you can see, if I get distracted, this comp's slightly unstable. Flamboyant RAF guy. There's an A-team expendables energy. Interesting. Kind of using a level 100 event damage C. No. No, this is 6 slot. 26, 32, 38. Wait, 26 is 210. 32 is 220. 38 is 330. For that, yeah, we're coming up on like 350. It's actually going very fast. Yeah, actually, here, if you guys want to see the comp, I'll back out real fast. So here it is. And again, I don't have any of the C's leveled. Just as proof. And like I said, I'm making it the comp on the spreadsheet recommends 10-10-10 Mabe, but I'm making it work with 10-9-9 at MP2. And she rarely ever low rolls, so it just works. You do have to have the append, but at least at NP2 Mabe, you'll be able to get that without even bonding her. So yeah. It's a very straightforward comp. Works very nicely. The only downside here is I have to bond my own Oberon, but considering in all of the prior rounds I got away with not bonding my Oberon, I'd say I'm doing fine. Did you already open some boxes? I've opened 15 boxes. I opened the initial 10, but then to get the Mabe online for this comp, I had to open 5 more boxes. I have a rough week or two and my box count isn't great. Life is a way of getting in the way. It's all good, Kimba. Take your time. Again, there'll be another lotto anyway, so as long as you get like enough here to subsist yourself for a little bit, you're fine. Next lotto should be around like May, like early May probably. Can't believe the one with Harry Styles did better than Henry Cavill. Well, that was what, Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge is like a really like kind of well-known story. It had never been done, but it was a story that's pretty infamous. MP1 can work, but I need to get her arts card in 2 turns. Yeah. I mean, at that point, you could either take a damage C, or you could try to like level up the you could try to like level 100 the drop C that you have on, and that'll get you a little bit more. But I assume if you need the arts card, it's probably because you need charge at that point. I don't have the bug. I see. Highly recommend getting the bug. Oberon is a very, very strong unit. Oh, almost did a bad. Like, again, I've always told you guys the meta supports what really facilitate the compositions on your account. If you don't have them, you can't do certain comps, because, like, again, like you see here, sometimes you need double Oberon. So it's like, if it's just a single Oberon, you can take somebody else's, but if it's double Oberon, you're required to take your own. My Oberon is drinking in the lounge, yeah. No, your Oberon's not drinking in the lounge. He's working hard in my comp. Hey, what did I do? Oh, right. Chat, let me be right back real quick. Let me get a drink. Oh. Okay. Yeah, my avatar goes into a coma when I leave. It's designed to do that. I obviously had a like sleeping animation done, but my rigger basically set it up where she was like, "Hey, do you want it to like do this when you leave?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's perfectly fine." That way I don't have to like set it up to do it and press a button. It just does it automatically. But I really want the cute Fey terrorist. Oh no, that's fine. Just get the cute Fey terrorist, is what I'm telling you. Also, if comp is double Koyan, you better have your own Oberon. Yeah. I mean, like, if it's a 50% charge you're working with, you don't have to have Oberon. He's still obviously great for damage, but it's the real problem is with like the 30% chargers. You pretty much have to have him then at that point. At least if you want a 3-turn not starting at like 100% charge. AKA you want a 3-turn with a like better craft essence. Summer Kiara hasn't worked this hard in a while. And the only thing I don't like about Summer Kiara is again, it's like the length of the NP with her is really long. Which is funny because both her versions NPs are very long. I think it's the Is it the third form or is it the second? Or it's either the first or second form or the third form, and I want to say it's the third form, but one of them is faster than the other. And I'm trying to remember which, because like there's the variant where like she puts you in like the freaking like clamshell underwater, and then there's the other one where it's like she grows super large and like does it to you. Third is slower. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Third looks better, but third is slower. Third is the cleavage. Is this 6C? Yeah, this is 6C. It's NP2 Mabe, NP2 Morgan are what's required. And it's just, it's nice and quick. I do like it. Like, as quick as it can be. It could be faster if I didn't use Oberon stuff, but we'll see. Actually, let me try that. Let me see if I can improve this. Basically by virtue of not using Oberon in wave 2. Not using his third skill, because my Morgan's NP5. I doubt it's gonna work, but I'm just curious to see kind of the level of damage. If I have to, I can scuff. The problem is my Morgan isn't grailed. In a little bit of time here, she will be. Definitely one of my grail targets post MHXA. Which again, like with this lotto, I should be able to, like I should have enough grails to be able to finish my MHX, which means that grailing MHXA starts. And once MHXA is, I literally didn't do it. Once she's done, then I can start to work on other units. So we'll test it on the next run. And Morgan wouldn't need S3, I think. Yeah, it might not. Because again, the S3, the problem with the S3 is that it has to like, once the wave finishes, it then has to sleep her, like right here. Because like, boom, does NP loss, sleep, and it just adds to like the amount of like time that the node takes as you're waiting on that. It's not the biggest like deal in the world, but it is a thing. If I can cut down on that, not only would that mean that my Morgan's cards aren't bricked for wave 3, but it means I would save a little bit of time. Yeah, hey, IA, can you do that at MP1? Martha Santa's doing work? Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, like, Santa Martha is a unit that, like, a lot of people won't use, but she's really solid if you fire off her NP. Nope. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I can't do it. And where my Mabe is at? Probably NP1, if you have her. Because that's kind of how she is with most people. Most people got, like, the token copy of her. I just can't get into it for Summer Kiara Ascension 2. I can appreciate it, but I like the other two way better. That's fine. See, the reason I like the second one is not only do I like, you know, like the cop aesthetic there, but also just in general, I'm not the hugest fan of her like mermaid ascension because it looks really weird to me. Like it looks like she basically is like in like a rucksack and she doesn't have like her feet out at all. Okay, what was I doing? Okay, so we didn't use S3. I'm gonna pop that. I'm also gonna pop her gut skill. That should give me all the stars that I need to be effective here. And then I got none of her cards. We'll take the 2 buster cards. Got a feet guy? No, it looks really weird to me. It looks like she has her like feet bound, basically. Okay, I'm gonna say I needed to do that. All right, hold on, chat. Oh, wait, hold on. That's JP. Scuff? No. That one doesn't count because I said I was going to try it. That's not a fuck up so much as me trying to see if I can get away with it. Use Morgan first skill in second wave. You could probably do it without Oberon third skill. Morgan first skill in second wave. Yeah, I mean, the charge would be the issue. That's basically her biggest problem. Sugi Sugite. This is actually really bad because the card allotment means that I'm really screwed for the next wave. We're gonna try to pre-card and post-card here. That's only 18k. That's not gonna work. I may have also low rolled with the NP. I don't know. But yeah, I'd have to find a way to restructure the charge for this to be a thing. Oh, no crit. Oh, come on. Wow. Literally each of them at like 50 and 60% and none of them crit. Really bad card RNG there. This is also bad card RNG. What the shit? Well, at least I'll have Morgan's NP ready for wave 3 again. Because I'm probably going to need it at this point. Oberon didn't even kill. Holy shit. Oh my god, Oberon. What the crap was that? So this may not be a good idea to do this, but I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to send it. Because she's going to lose the buffs if I don't. Cat was testing if you can save the Oberon's S3. Yeah. I was trying purposely to see what I could do. Let me think, because like I do think Chad has a good point about saving her S1. If I don't do it in turn 1, I need 50% charge. So the only way would be if I hold off on her S1 and Oberon's S1, and I use Oberon's S2 instead. And that might work, but that's going to be spicy in and of itself. Use double Oberon? Yeah. It's just turned into a mini boss? Oh no, this is nothing. This is nothing. Chat already saw the 13 turn. This won't be 13. Because I didn't brick anyone other than... Well, I bricked Mabe, technically, but, like, that is what that is. Like, this comp actually has capability. Ba, 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 ba. Ah, fuck it. Send it. So I could take the 80% Oberon arts there, but to me, I'd rather get the Morgan arts. Because Morgan's arts card actually has pretty good performance. Imagine a C drop? Yeah, I haven't seen one in a while, actually. Like, my C drops have been pretty trash. Still. Like, I'm still, chat. I think I still need one more drop before I'm finally at 4 MLBs. Like I said, we're at like 250 boxes. I'm pretty deep into this and I'm still way behind on that. Do you have Morgan a second append open? I have it maxed. Like I said, I think I have the potential solution. So this will be another potential one here, chat, that I'm gonna try. So we still need to do that. Still need to do that. And then we're gonna try this. Hopefully mine's strong enough. I lose out on a lot of damage here though, so we're gonna this might be spicy. Like Morgan's first skill is a lot of her firepower. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, fuck off. The curse might kill, but like... God damn. He'll die to curse, maybe? Yeah. Actually, wait, yo, how much is Morgan's curse? Let me see. Okay, he'd die. So we can just send it. That sucks, but for the purposes of not scuffing the run, I'ma send it. Did you use S3? I did not. But I didn't use S3 kind of because, like, if I can't, like, clear this, there's no point to doing this. It's better to take the consistency over the other. Okay, it's the same result. Rice Man starts pounding. Thanks for the free charge, big boy. Thanks for the death. Do I want to keep testing this? Okay. All right. I got 2 Morgan Le Fay crit cards. We'll try it. I shouldn't, but we'll try it. I probably should have staggered cards, but I think with this she might do it. Oh, wow. So having her S1 is really fucking bad. Like it really doesn't seem to make much difference there, which is kind of wild because Morgan Le Fay's S1 is both attack up of 20% and defense down of 30. Like it's 50% in modifiers. And it doesn't feel like it made jack shit of a difference there. Now, part of that's, again, maybe the roll was high last time, and this time it was low. So, even though there was 50% extra, it didn't feel like it was that different. Like, holy crap. Yeah, no, it's just, do the frickin' Oberon S3 chat. It's not worth trying to do this. Maybe if you had a grailed one, like a 120. But, like, fuck that. Defense down can be resisted though. Usually defense down can't be resisted by normal mobs. It can only be resisted by like debuffs can normally only be resisted by actual servants, which this wave does have one. But yeah, it just is what it is. Okay, so no different effect on Mabe. Mabe is still easy clear this because everything is exactly as it should be. But like, yeah, this is not worth trying to do this. It's baffling it could not kill. It just is what it is. Like I said, like this sort of thing happens. That's a little bit. That's the power of Oberon's third skill. It's that much actual damage. So it's like a comp that looks brain dead easy with his third skill is nigh impossible without it. And that's why. Like that's why Oberon has had such a profound impact on the game. Support Castrian Shufu, the rest isn't relevant. I'm turning it consistently. Hey, nice. Yeah, I mean, like, even if you have to turn, I don't really necessarily recommend that, but it, like, if it gets the job done and you're sitting there and you're like, hey, I don't have a good comp for like one of the lesser nodes and you're fine with it, keep doing it. But I would advise you, if you're going to turn, you're probably better to step down and six slot the 90 plus instead. But again, it is what it is. I have everything else, yeah. Getting that 2 times MP damage plus 50% buster up is a good boost. Yeah, it's a lot of firepower we were sacrificing there, basically. And actually, to be fair, I should have probably known not to test that, because last night when I set this comp up and I was eyeballing it, I knew the rough amount of damage that my Morgan Le Fay was doing to Wave 2. She was doing around like 750k to like 800k. So I was sitting there going like, okay, that's, a little bit more than 200k per, which when you're sitting there and you've got Tame Tomo at 235k, that meant Tame Tomo was like right on the line to begin with anyways. Like a little bit, Tame Tomo I think is in her niche, so she actually is doing more damage to him, but it definitely speaks that like she's not like so overwhelmingly powerful for me at this point that like, oh yeah, I could just start like not pressing buttons. Because usually that's where I can get away with it. Like when a comp requires NP2 and I have NP5, but then like my unit's also like grailed or something like that, then I'm just like, oh, okay, I have so much buffer room here that I could maybe like sacrifice one of the skills. Normal enemies are Earth, yep. My Morgan could probably run this node since she's 120 2k, but I just don't want to grail her more yet. Wait, what do you mean? You mean Bond Grail, right? I was gonna say, I was like, because she's 120, you've already grailed her the most you can. But yeah, it is what it is. It's like with some of these units, it's naturally gonna become an issue. Now, if you're trying to like just 3-turn with Morgan's gonna mightily struggle trying to card down somebody like Kentucky, even with the Oberon third skills and stuff like that. Like I was talking with Avalon because I'm pretty sure that I can probably 3-turn this node with my bunny. But the problem with this is I require very good card RNG, at least on like wave 2. I could probably make it more consistent, probably get it to a point where I don't require like as many buster cards, but like not worth. And it's not like I haven't found like really good uses for my bunny. So if anything, it's like, oh, okay, if I find another good use where I don't have to use her, that's probably a good idea. What the heck? Netflix kicked me off? Are they finally getting to the main event, chat? Can Lartoria work here? Yeah, she can. The problem that you're going to run into, though, is like, how do you leverage it for a single target to still kill wave 3? Like part of what's going on here, so that chat understands if you're not familiar. Okay, so like I get to this point where I've popped all of this, and basically this skill right here increases the NP gauge each turn for yourself and increase the NP gauge for all male or Fey allies. And it's by 30%. So she's giving Morgan Le Fay 30% because she's Fey. So like this would not work with somebody that's not Fae, aka like Lartoria, right? So at that point, it's because I'm using double Oberon plus a single target that's giving functionally the party 30% charge. So that's really, really like good. Well, actually, it doesn't give herself 30%, but again, it's giving Morgan at least. So it's really good. It's not something you're normally going to see. And it's, again, one of the reasons why this comp actually has a whole lot of synergy and works really well together. Like Mabe and Morgan, this will probably not be the last time you see a comp like this. Maestro, are you there live? I think if Maestro is there live, he would not be in my chat. I can't believe Mike is going to do this at 58. I can't believe it either. And it's like, if he were younger, Mike Tyson absolutely has this fight in the bag. But because Mike Tyson is so old and has been out of the game for so long, like, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I really feel like his age is going to be the factor, especially since they're apparently like going multiple rounds. And with regards to like boxing is a very like endurance intense sport. So like, I don't see that he's going to have the capacity to be able to go the distance. I think Tyson needs to like try and knock his ass out right away. Yeah, okay, there's still another fight before them, it looks like. Taylor and Serrano. It's different from fighting a contemporary like Roy Jones Jr. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let's not do the bronze fruit. I'll probably have to use the majority of my silvers here to get to 300, but it's not gonna be like I'm still gonna walk out of this lotto with literally every single one of my golden apples, which is kind of nuts. Take an ear on the way too, yeah. At least Nock gets the Fey trait, yeah. Mel would work in her place then? Mel would, but Mel theoretically doesn't need to, like, rely on Mabe. Because Mel be Mel. The problem with Mel is, Mel, like, to work in this comp, if I remember correctly, needs, like, what, like NP3? Because, like, again, as Avalon hinted at, like, Morgan's getting a lot of like leverage out of the fact that these enemies in this wave are man traded. Had a Mello plus Mabe plus Janako plus Oberon comp. Disgusting. This is the year where they gave the most apples since FGO came out. Yeah, like, it is what it is, and it doubly so because blue apples are a thing. I think so many people, like, you guys have now hit the era where you will not have to spend rainbow apples to accomplish your goals in a lotto unless you're doing like north of 500 boxes. Like, you're very, very, very likely to just get this done under your own power, under your own refills. Which is really, really nice. NP2 is fine with a level 100C? Okay. Wait, so would 5 slotting 90 plus plus be more efficient than 6 slot 90 plus? In this particular lotto, it is. It will not always be that way, though. So don't, like, commit that to memory that, like, oh, this is just the way things are. Because it changes from event to event, which is really weird. In general, they're both very close, though. So it's like I've told people, it's like, you don't really have to care if your choice between 6 slot 90 plus or 5 slot 90 plus plus, you're kind of the same. Do whichever one you prefer at that point. Like, if you find one comp a lot easier to do than another, just do that one. Ow. plus plus 6 slot greater than 90 plus 6 slot greater than 90 plus plus 5 slot. Yeah. It literally, like, that's usually from what I've seen the way that goes, but it definitely does bounce back and forth. Any scuffing today? Yeah, we scuffed once. Abby no say, man, that game's a big booba waifu. Hey, if any game's gonna do it, it's gonna be FGO, but will they? I don't know. It really depends. Like, at least in FGO, Abe no Seime has already hinted to be a man. At least in the like 5.5 scenes where you talk with him. You never get to see him, but you talk with him. So we'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe they'll do a pseudo and Abe no Seime inhabits a woman's body. It's not like they haven't done stuff like that before. Cough, cough, rains. C drop rate for everyone is pretty crap this event. No, I mean, I've talked to some people that, like, they're swimming in them. But yeah, for some odd reason, this time around, I'm just getting shit luck. But it is what it is. Like I said before, because my goals are not super robust in this one, like, I don't care that it's like, the fact that it's not raining seas is not like a big deal to me. It sucks. It'd be better if it weren't the case, but yeah. Oh man. You got off a nice flurry there. Would be funny is Kaneth is Seme's pseudo. Oh, Kaneth is Seme's pseudo. Seme's pseudo. Yeah, that, like, I'm gonna say, like, it'd be weird to see like an existing mage be that way, but technically Kaneth is dead. So like, I'm not sure he can be a pseudo. He'd have to be a servant himself at that point. Technically. Like, I guess it depends. It depends on like if in the FGO timeline if Kaneth is actually dead. You're in 20 boxes and still 3 drops away from plus 12. I mean, you're a lot closer than I am. Playable Kaneth and I riot derogatory? I see. What about playable Shinji, chat? Yeah. Rasputin. At plus 10, so perfect. Nice. I don't remember what I'm at. Is it plus 9 or plus 10? Yeah, I'm at plus 10. So I am 1 drop away from having 4 MLB, and I guess 2 drops away from being at plus 11. Which means I still need, what, 6 more drops in total? Something like that? I don't know. You mean Perseus? Listen, chat. You still don't have Perseus. So we can neither confirm nor deny this. I know we've been in this argument before, and everyone's like, it's a thing, blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is. Okay. Kratos servant win? No, probably never. I'm a little bit worried about, like, again, some of Nasu's comments about, like, oh, well, maybe once we get done with, like, part 2, we can start doing collabs and stuff. And I'm like, I just, like, it's not like there wouldn't be some, like, new and exciting characters and stuff. It's just, like, I feel like at that point, the story is just like toast. Like you just, when you start inviting external stuff to Fate that doesn't fit, like there's just it's like all semblance of like lore and stuff has gone out the window at that point. At that point it just becomes a cash grab. Not that it isn't already. Or do you have a Shinji as Jason? No. Jason's way better than Shinji. Come on. You can't say that. You meant those kind of collabs, yeah. Yeah, like non-Fate collabs. Sorry, not non-Fate, non-Nasuverse collabs. What about CCC Shinji? I mean, CCC Shinji's better, but still no. And it's funny because I always see people be like, oh, Shinji's so much better in CCC. I'm like, he's still an asshole, chat. Like, he still does certain things that are like, yes, this is Shinji. Because that's just who Shinji is at his core. It's like, he's less of an asshole, don't get me wrong, but he's still an asshole. Jason had character development, Shinji didn't. Well, also, most of the stuff that Jason does, he's usually doing it like for a roundabout good reason. Like, I think even if you go look at like how he treated Medea, a lot of that is because like Medea had an unhealthy infatuation with him and he just wasn't interested. I'm not going to say he couldn't have handled that better. He could have. That's his fault? Yeah, probably. Once a Shinji, always a Shinji. Aren't our friends assholes too? Just saying. I mean, it depends on what you mean by asshole, right? Like, because there's like guys and their friends are usually like ball busting each other, which like, yeah, you're an asshole. Why would you do that, right? But at the same time, it's not like that bad, right? Like usually when push comes to shove, even if it like one of your friends is like busting your balls all the time and kind of an asshole to you, they'll usually do like the right thing if like shit hits the fan and stuff gets serious. And if they don't, they're not your friend, right? Like at that point, you just like you get rid of them because you're like, oh, this person is like terrible. But yeah, it's like I usually feel like there's the difference there. It's like, while guys will treat each other like crap sometimes, it's mostly in like a joking way rather than like an actual serious problem way. Speaking of assholes, cough, Gil, cough. That's why he always dies. Gil is just Gil is full of himself. That's the problem that Gil has. Gil quite literally can't fathom the fact that someone could be better than him. Gil is Gil. Yep. Like Gil is the epitome of someone that's just like he's always caught with his pants down because he just assumes that this could never happen to him. Slowly running out of blue apples. Yep. I ran out of all my bronze, all my blue, and now I'm, like I said, I'll probably finish my silver before the end of the lotto. But I'm gonna end up having all my golds. Feels good, man. Caster Gill in Babylon did a lot to make him more likable. Oh yeah, but isn't Caster Gill the one where he's already settled down post adventures at that point? Did you say Gil has a worse ego than Vegeta? Ooh. That's a tough one. They're like two different types of full of themselves. Like, Gil is full of himself and like overconfident, and that overconfidence is actually his weakness. Vegeta has that some too, but I'd say Vegeta's biggest issue is that Vegeta's just stubborn. Like, Vegeta will just fucking refuse to like acknowledge certain things because to do so would be like a mark against his pride. So like, I feel like with Gil is just like overconfident, and with Vegeta is prideful, is the difference there. Yeah, okay, I already did that. The wise King Gil, yes. Gil is funny, gives his lore and ridiculous clairvoyance. Yeah. Didn't Nasu say that Caster Gil would hate Archer Gil? I mean, that if you think about it, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Like I'm not saying that Nasu hasn't said that, because I've heard it before too. But if you think about it at face value, like, you don't get to Caster Gil without having Archer Gil. And it's the equivalent of like Emiya looking back on his own past and like hating it. But it's like, it's still you, right? Like, at the end of the day. Overconfidence is pride? No, overconfidence is not pride. Overconfidence and pride are two different things. They're very similar, I will agree, but they are two different things. Kid Gil, relatively mature and polite. OG Gil, I am the asshole. Caster Gil, I'm older and wiser, but still an ass at times. Caster Gil is an ass in the way that he's like, Caster Gil's an asshole like I am. And that's that when he really like, when something needs to be said, he will not pull punches, right? Like, and I completely agree with that. Like that mentality. Like, sometimes you have to be an ass. Sometimes you have to say something in a harsh way so that people understand, because people will not take the statement at face value otherwise. Wouldn't we all hate our younger selves? I mean, I don't hate my younger self. I mean, like, certainly I feel like everybody always has like regrets. Like, there's things that you wish like weren't the case and that you could have back, but it is what it is. I may have scuffed this chat. Hold on. Oh no, it's just enough. Let's go. Wait, how did that happen though? Because she's supposed to be at 90%, not 80. I'm so confused. I must have like done something different with the turn order. I don't know. I'll do it like that. No, my scuff. Yeah. I have no idea what I did different that time. She's just painfully embarrassed by her younger self. Yeah, I feel like that's how most people would be. You wouldn't hate your younger self, you're just embarrassed by your younger self. Because I think most people look back and they go like, oh man, I wish I had done some certain things differently. I wish that like I had handled things again like in a different way, or I had not done them at all. And while like those were life experiences, you look back at them and you're like, you're embarrassed to recall them. Hit my minimum goal of 100 boxes today. Congratulations. Keep working. Carmilla looking at Liz. No, I'm pretty sure that's the reverse. Carmilla looking at Liz is a situation where she actually hates her younger self. But that's also because those are two completely different, like, people practically. Like, Liz is absolutely the embarrassing character, right? But Carmilla looks back at that and goes like, that's bullshit. I never should have been that way. Now I'm like the hot older Dommy mommy. And I like to torture people. I'm into CBT. Yeah, see, now it's 90% again. I'm so confused. I have no idea what I did on the last one that may have ended up at 80%. That was super weird to me. Closed beta testing? Yeah, that's what we'll call it. I would like to smack my younger self upside the head and yell at him, go talk to that girl who pinched your butt at the amusement park, dumbass. What you're supposed to do, a la Rush Hour, is you're supposed to say, who touched me? Who did that? Who pinched my ass? Do it again. That's what you're supposed to say. Do it again. Liz wanted to be well liked. Carmilla killed hundreds of girls trying to be young to stay well liked. There's a difference. Yeah. Yeah, one was any means necessary, right? Never be Machiavellian, chat. They roped Don Cheadle into Rush Hour. Yeah, I mean, but that wasn't that back when like Don Cheadle was not like super famous and stuff. Like I feel like that's one of Don Cheadle's like early roles, but maybe I'm wrong. Because I do remember him being in there. And it's like it's kind of wild that he is. Pre-crash Cheadle, yeah. I have discovered I can probably do this without Mabe's third skill. But I'm not sure that's worth testing either. I know I've pulled it off at least once. Anyone watching the fight? How long until the actual final like act? Or do we even know? Like, have they said how many more fights there are? Because like I have it pulled up on my side screen, but I can't hear anything that they're saying. After this, the women just started? Well, I saw they were fighting earlier, but I don't know if the fight's over if they're in between rounds. I haven't had it pulled up the whole time. This is in Texas, right? It's nearly 10 p.m. No, isn't this in Madison Square Garden? I think this is New York. I think. Texas? Is it? Really? Okay, that explains a lot. Oh, wow. Both these women are like they're actually pretty old for boxers. I feel like most boxers are usually in their like late 20s, early 30s. UFC 309 is in New York tomorrow. Okay, maybe that's what I saw them advertising. Because I saw something for Madison Square Garden. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that must be where it is. But yeah, actually, now that you mention it, like I'm even surprised it's in Texas because I think the times were all posted in Pacific time. So I assume this was on the West Coast. Now I'm even more confused. Female boxers can get up there in age due to lack of fights and damage they take. Yeah, how many like How many like active female boxers are there? Like, because again, like I've watched fights before, but I don't really follow like the female side of boxing, nor do I really follow the male side of boxing. But like, I'm at least aware of the male side of boxing a lot more than I am the female side. Because I know there's plenty of like female UFC fighters, but I'm not sure how many there are like female boxers. Because I feel like UFC kind of suits women better because they get to use their legs, and women are usually like males are usually a lot more built in the upper body. Women are usually a lot like better built in the lower body, like with legs and thighs and stuff. So they usually end up having a lot more power there. Center of balance is lower in women, yeah. I never thought I'd use Coin of Dark this much. Jesus. Are you using her in the current run? Like, are you using her to kill the node? Speak for yourself, I'm thick. Hey, listen. More power to you. Thick thighs take lives? Well, yeah, it's because they snap necks. I'm trying to unthickify myself, chat. I'm too thick right now. And I say that I'm not fat at all, but I need to lose like I got like muffin top at this point. I need to like lose some like waist weight, but I fucking hate cardio. I basically have sports induced asthma, so like I can do cardio, I just hate it and it's miserable as much as it is for everybody else. But when it comes to like actual long running, like endurance and cardio, I basically can't do it. Like that's the issue that I run into. What about swimming? That's my favorite. I don't have a pool. My parents have a pool, but I don't. Professional standards of boxers considered. Out of all professional boxers, about 30% of them are female. Interesting. I'm actually surprised it's that high. Yeah, it looks to me like she's wearing a bulletproof vest. Holy crap. Unless that's like a weighted vest for like weight training and like ease of like movement purposes. Walk up and down stairs for 30 to 60 minutes. Yeah, it's the 30 to 60 minutes part that's the problem. Like 20 minutes? Yeah, I can do that. 30 minutes is like right on the cusp usually for me. Like when I did used to run, I used to run for about 30 minutes and I was like at my limit like at 30 minutes. DDR for me? I see. Weightlifting burns tons more fat. I mean, my understanding is basically if you want to lose weight, it's not the type of exercise, it's your heart rate that matters. Getting your heart rate up is all that really matters. And like keeping it up basically for extended periods of time will basically cause you to burn calories. Can you do 20 minutes twice a day or something? Twice a day? No, that'd be difficult. I have very little time as is. Like maybe 20 minutes once a day, but twice a day, no. Queen of Dark a lot in the summer event and running the 90 plus because I can't 3-turn because I don't have Oberon. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, like she's Queen of Dark. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, Queen of Dark is bad. Queen of Dark needs upgrades." Yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah, you clearly don't know what you're talking about, and you don't use Queen of Dark because Queen of Dark is actually really fucking good. She's not like Kukulkan level. She's not supposed to be though either. Kukulkan is primarily meant to be damage, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, but Kukulkan has a targetable 50% charge skill," and I'm like, while that is true, Kukulkan's so strong, you're almost always going to use it on herself. Like, you're very rarely going to use it on another target. So, to me, where Queen of Dark really comes in is as a actual, like, hybrid damage dealer / support. That's where she's really strong, and she always has been strong at that. She is not the most meta of those, though. Like, because again, if you're looking at her from purely a support standpoint, she's lacking. If you're looking at her from purely a damage standpoint, she's lacking. It's when you take both into consideration that she's stronger than the sum of her parts. She's quite good at that point. Like, she could, don't get me wrong, she could get an upgrade and it wouldn't like break her. But I see a lot of people act like she's in some sort of like terrible state. And I'm like, no, she's not. She's doing perfectly fine. She is still a very good, very viable unit. Great fluffy tail comps? Yeah, exactly. That S1 is good? Yes, it's very good. And with certain units, the S2 is extremely strong as well. Okay, hear me out. Dancing also works too. Yeah, because again, it's like the same thing, right? Like the whole purpose of cardio is to get your heart rate up. So it's like any sort of movement based thing, like even playing sports, like you can go out and like you just like play basketball or something. It's like then you're not constantly running, you're not constantly like sprinting, you're not constantly jumping, but you're doing like all three to some degree, and it's keeping your heart rate elevated usually. And that's usually the big factor there. Like the reason I've put on weight here is because like back in high school, I played multiple sports. I couldn't put on any weight if I even wanted to. So like doing it now, it's because I'm way more sedentary. I'm way less active now. Like I work a day job where I sit in my chair. I come home and I stream for you guys and I sit in my chair. And it's like, I hear people say like, oh, sitting is terrible for you. Sitting is not nearly as bad as people would have you believe. There's a lot of propaganda around that. But it's still like the general purpose of like, yes, if all you're doing is sitting down and you never get up and do anything, yeah, that's a problem, right? Like in general, we should get up, walk around, stretch every now and then, make sure that we're actually being active throughout our day. And that's usually the big problem there. Is like if you're constantly sedentary, that's going to cause issues. Kind of Dark is more on the support side and multi DPS setups. Yeah, but that's where like again, I think she's a perfectly fine unit, and I feel like a lot of the complaints about her are mischaracterizations of her, and it's usually again like people have an agenda. Is considered better than Kukulkan for farming due to her multi-core applications. I mean, I would disagree with that, but I would only disagree with that because Kukulkan does so much damage that, like, yeah, having the multi-core and the multi-DPS type setups are nice. Kukulkan does so much damage you don't need to. So it's like, it's kind of a... like, yeah, sure, well, I can understand that sentiment if I don't even have to do a multiple damage dealer setup. To me, that's ideal, right? And that's where, like, Kukulkan really does shine through. Like, I'm not going to say that Kukulkan's not strong. They kind of went a little cuckoo with Cuckoo, right? Like, but she's one of the stronger units out there, and she's one of the units that I use in my comparisons of, like, hey, these units are a little bit too far beyond the pale. Like Tiamat's another one. Melison's another one. Like, you have some of these units that when the devs designed them, they went a little too far with them. And it's not just that the unit is better than their counterparts, it's how much they're better than their counterparts. And usually if people are using Kukulkan as the reasoning for why a unit needs a buff, it's not that I disagree with them, but they need to be a little bit more transparent about that. It's not that the unit's bad, it's that the unit that is leading the pack is that strong, right? Like, for instance, I can look at Lartoria. Does Lartoria need a buff? Yes, absolutely. Is Lartoria a bad unit? No, absolutely not. She's still fantastic and can do a lot of great stuff. But is she lagging behind the rest of the pack? Yes. Is she absolutely getting trounced by Mel? Yes. That's the issues at play there. So the difference there, though, is, again, like, I see people, they'll actually sit there and they'll unironically claim that somehow Koyami is a bad unit. And I'm like, holy shit, no. And it, like, that, seeing claims like that just drives me up a fucking wall. Or seeing people say, like, oh, well, her damage is bad. I'm like, no, her damage is not bad. It's actually not. And especially given the fact that she has a super effective niche, you kind of know she's going to be able to do good stuff. It's only bad in comparison. And even then, it's still not even necessarily a fair comparison. Playing sports can give you adrenaline rush, which burns calories better than normal exercise. Yeah. It's because a lot of what you're doing when you're playing sports is you're not just engaging your body, but you're doing so in a dynamic way. So, like, whenever you lift weights, you're doing it usually in the very, like, same pattern over and over and over again. And while this will work out your muscles, it's not like it's working multiple aspects of your muscle groups most of the time. Like, it depends on the exercise, right? Like, if you're, say, for instance, lifting like let's say you're lifting like a bar or like dumbbells or something like that. You're literally working like your shoulders and your arms. As opposed to, like, if you're playing basketball, you are working quite literally your entire lower body, your core, which is your abs and your back, and maybe even your arms, depending on what you're doing with them at that moment. So, like, there's a lot more, like, work going into that as opposed to, like, any singular exercise that you might do. This is also one of the reasons why, like, one of the better exercises you can do are things like push-ups, pull-ups, yada, 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 because they're working more than just one muscle group, right? And it's a very, like, a very big deal that, like, sports gets to work on a lot of that stuff. But yes, then also on top of that, sports is actually working your brain as well, because you're sitting there and you're having to, like, literally, like, process all the information that's going on. Okay, I need to be over here. I need to do this. I need to, like, okay, he might pass right now. I might need to, like, get in the way and grab it, or I might need to, like, you know, like, juke this guy and get open so that I can, like, do stuff. So, like, you're sitting there and you're thinking about all that, and your brain is working. And it's working in overdrive. It's processing all that external stimuli. So all of that's working, again, on the flip side there too. You're very engaged when you're playing sports. As opposed to, yeah, if you're just in the gym and you're just, like, lifting some dumbbells and you got your, like, earphones in, you're like brain off, like vibing, and you're just, like, you're very, very, like, inert in a weird way. It's not that it's not working you, it's that it's only working parts of you. Cat, what's your what MP level's your Percy at? NP5. Cream banner is up. Oh, yes, it should be. I just realized what time it is. I've gotten into bodybuilding and doing it for the last 2 years. It's helped being a ton. Being just physically healthier does a lot to mental health too, I found. Yeah, I need to, like, get back into working out. I used to work out quite a bit. I need to get back into it, and I know I do. And that's, like, one of the things that's, like, been bothering me is, like, I don't really have the time, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. And I need to, like, find a good spot in my, like, day-to-day routine where I can fit stuff like that in. And then I will feel a lot better when I get that. And I keep trying to, like, think about when, where, and how to do it. And that's the problem I'm encountering, is, like, the like, finding the actual time, because something's got to give. My life is too busy at the moment. I need to find some way to, like literally like divvy stuff up and make sure that I have a better time allotment to handle my various like responsibilities. You do Percy comp for this node if you wanted. The only problem with Percy comp is I'm going to be having to use my Castoria, and I'd prefer not to if possible. Been waiting for cream? Yeah. I wish I could work out like I used to, but since the crash, I'm kind of limited. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is like you get older, you're going to have to like limit yourself to some degree, but it's important to stay active and stay healthy in general. Did my daily disappointment and got Bryn? What? Guess she's in P2 now? Yeah. In P2, Bryn's good. Borrow Castoria and use your Oberon. It works well with Mabe. Is it just single? Is it Mabe, Percy, Castoria, Oberon is all it is? I thought it was double Castoria. I mean, it's fine. It's not like I'm like, oh no, I'm leveling my, or I'm bonding my Morgan. I actually haven't gotten to use my Morgan as much as I wanted to on my NA account, so it does not bother me. I swim a lot in summer, but winter I get lazy. Well, I don't blame anyone for not wanting to swim in the middle of winter, right? Like even if you're swimming in like a like heated pool or something, the fact of like going and like getting wet and stuff, it's still gonna feel like really fucking cold when you get out and stuff. So yeah, I completely understand why someone would not want to. How's the farm going? Farm's going pretty good. We're up over like 250 boxes, so. Oh. All right, though, chat. I think for me, this is probably a good stopping point. I know we didn't get to we didn't get to Van Gogh's analysis. So like that's gonna be a thing. I'm gonna try to do that. I'll try to see if I can get the video posted for Tut as well. But again, thank you guys for watching. Let me see who all is on. I see a Mr. CZ on, so I'm going to send you guys this way. And again, I will be back. I'll be back Monday. Oh no, wait, no, we have D&D this Sunday, so I'll definitely be back for that as well. So again, if you guys are around Sunday, feel free to check us out. We do our like at least monthly, but usually like bi-weekly D&D game. And again, come check it out if you guys have never seen D&D before, or you're curious as to how like tabletop and stuff is run. We're always happy to answer questions. We generally are having a fun time with that. Again, I will see you guys Sunday, and if not, Monday. Again, have a good one. Go give CZ my love, and I will see you guys for the next one.